Chapter 635. The girl's face was getting redder and redder. Hearing Lu Fei's words, she nodded lightly. Brother all-rounder, I watched every match of the Dota Tower competition a few days ago. Lu Fei was amused. Yo, knowing more skills is quite an advantage. There's always one that can captivate people. I love your driving skills and this little girl loves you playing Dota Tower. Next time, play League of Legends with me and I'll introduce all my friends to you? Bah. I'm a righteous person. Qin Guang tried to quibble with empty words. Is that so? What about now? Are you still an upright person? As she spoke, she gently picked up the hem of the girl's white vest, then grabbed Qin Guang's hand and put it under the girl's clothes. Being separated by a layer of clothes and not being separated by a layer of clothes was a completely different feeling. The tickling in his palm became more and more violent. Qin Guang wittily slowed down the car, turned into a side road and stopped next to a forest. To be honest, the interference of his hand was much more violent than when Lu Fei was racing. This car can't be driven anymore. Lu Fei became more and more crazy and things began to gradually go in the direction of losing control. As a top-notch sports car, the Porsche 918's interior space was already very narrow. At this time, with 3 people squeezed in, it was even more difficult to make ends meet. Lu Fei moved her body slightly and leaned against the door. Then she let the girl face Qin Guang and slowly unbuttoned her vest. She seemed to be a little excited herself and her face was flushed. This is a rare opportunity. Such a beautiful little fangirl, you can't let it go today. There was a special charm in her voice. Qin Guang began to panic. Although his heart was also beating faster and although the scene looked really explosive, they were in the wild now. Although it was nighttime and it was unlikely that there would be people passing by, this was 2F** king exciting. He thought to himself, don't tell me I really have to put this little fangirl on the fire for Lu Fei today? Although normal men couldn't resist this kind of temptation, the sudden happiness was too fierce. Besides, no matter how beautiful this girl was or how pure she looked, she was still someone else's girlfriend. If he sent her back for a bit, she would still be considered unopened and others would still be grateful. If he really did something to make her a cuckold, he would suffer retribution in the future. Lu Fei understood him very well. When she saw his eager and conflicted expression, she knew that he still couldn't get over the hurdle in his heart. Instead, she laughed out loud. What nonsense are you thinking about? Do you really think that I'm so generous that I'll just let you have sex with someone else in front of me? After we're done, we'll send her back. Qin Guang was relieved. He patted his chest and said, damn, you scared me. I thought you were serious. I do have such an idea, but you're not cooperating enough. Let's not make things too difficult for you. Otherwise, what if you become afraid of me when you see me later? Lu Fei said with a smile, but her hands didn't stop moving. In fact, she wasn't disappointed at all. Instead, she was more and more satisfied with Qin Guang. Although he was a bit lecherous, he still had his principles. Her sincerity toward him hadn't been in vain. The girl felt a little disappointed but also relieved. Perhaps Li Mo had suffered a big loss, but who could he blame? He was the one who coveted someone else's woman first, and now things had turned out like this. He only had himself to blame. According to common sense, the girl should have been the one who suffered the most, but because she was a fan of Qin Guang, she was looking forward to it. Poor Li Mo was afraid that he would be the biggest loser. Alright, I'll give you 5 more minutes and then we'll hurry back. Lu Fei urged, I'm in a good mood today. In the future, don't even think about looking at other women in front of me. Otherwise, I'll fall out with you. Seize the opportunity. As Lu Fei said that, she began to move her hands down subconsciously, pulling down the girl's loose floral tassel dress. Come, give me your hand. Lu Fei began to move again. Qin Guang swallowed his saliva and stared at her, his hand slowly reaching out. Oh my god, this is too exciting. He thought to himself, if someone passes by at this time, I'll probably explode on the spot, right? As he thought about it, he subconsciously looked in front of the car window. If he didn't look, he wouldn't have known, but when he saw it, he was so scared that he peed his pants. In the air in front of him, a drone was hovering less than 2 meters in front of the car window. There was a miniature camera hanging below the drone and it was pointing right at his face. Although it was very dark, under the illumination of the car's interior lights, the drone looked extremely clear, like a cockroach flying in the air. I'm F***king in a ghost. Faster thief. What the hell? Qin Guang cried out in shock. Needless to say, the only person who would fly a drone to secretly film him at this time was Zhou Wei. Qin Guang had been too careless. He had been on guard all day and night. Today, because he had settled the matter with Lu Chao, he had slightly let down his guard. Finally, he had caught Zhou Wei in the act. Before he could curse Lu Chao in his heart, why was he so inefficient? Why hadn't he taken care of Zhou Wei yet? Qin Guang shouted, "Put on your clothes. There's a drone outside." As he spoke, he opened the door and got out of the car. "Oh no. He found us. Run." The two Octagon employees who were hiding in the dark and controlling the drone cried out. They tried to fly away, but there was no way they could escape. Qin Guang bent over to pick up a small stone from the ground and threw it at them. "What's not good about it? The thing has already been sent to the boss's web drive. Why is this Qin guy so lucky? Damn two girls, I'm dying of jealousy. Stop talking nonsense. Go. Qin Guang catches us, we'll really die." As Qin Guang sorted out the remains of the drone on the ground, Lu Fei and the girl had already put on their clothes and walked over. Taking out a 4G card from the pile of debris, Qin Guang knew that this matter was not that simple. He had already caught some big news for Zhou Wei. "I'm really sorry. I didn't think that I would be secretly photographed," Qin Guang said to the girl apologetically. She was the unlucky one. Although the buttons on the front of her vest had been unbuttoned, it should still have covered the important parts. However, as a girl, this kind of thing might not be good for her reputation if it were to be exposed. Lu Fei was so angry that she stomped her feet. "Why doesn't this Zhou Wei go and die? What is Uncle Lu doing? Why didn't he say hello? Isn't this a bad thing? My good mood has been ruined." Qin Guang was even angrier than her. This was such a rare opportunity. Even if he sent the girl back later, Lu Fei would not be able to escape tonight. After being messed up by this damn fatty with the surname Zhou, not to mention Lu Fei, even he himself was not in the mood. The girl's feelings were also very complicated. She really wanted something to happen between her and Qin Guang. When she heard Lu Fei say that Qin Guang would not really do anything to her, she was a little disappointed but also a little relieved. Now that the matter was really over, she felt quite dissatisfied. She was always taken advantage of by him. It seemed like she had not taken the initiative from beginning to end today. If she had known earlier, she would have taken the initiative to do something on his body in the car. In the past, she had seen on the internet that Gokyo University students said that Brother All-Rounder's body was super good. At that time, she had also seen the photos on the internet. That fresh and beautiful body was really full of power and beauty. She actually did not even touch it. It was really too depressing. Qin Guang took out his phone and prepared to call Lu Chao to get a reasonable explanation. "You have already sold 8 weeks to me for $1, and your lackey Zhou Wei still sent a drone to secretly take pictures of me. Can't you let me be happy and act cool? How can I live like this?" In the end, before he could make the call, Zhou Wei called first. "Mr. Qin, this time I really got something good. Say, if Jin Shiyue's boyfriend, China's #1 online celebrity, Qin Guang, raced in the middle of the night with 2 beauties in the wilderness, and one of them is the Lu family in Ogawa, the Lu family's Miss Lu Fei, who has a net worth of tens of billions, how explosive would this news be?" Zhou Wei's voice revealed a sense of pride. Ever since he crossed swords with Qin Guang, he had never been so confident. Zhou Wei felt that this time he had really caught a big piece of news. If Lu Fei was just an ordinary woman, the Jin family might not care so much. However, Lu Fei was the daughter of Ogawa's Lu family, and her family's status was not low. Once this matter was exposed, Qin Guang would become the enemy of both the Jin family and the Lu family. Both sides would not let him go. Ogawa's Lu family was a real rich and powerful family, and Lu Fei was not a small figure. This kind of woman was really qualified to be favored by any male star or artist. This was a real affair, and it was much more serious than playing around with a small model. Perhaps there would be hidden dangers after this matter was exposed, but Zhou Wei did not mind. He was Lu Chao's man, and even the Ogawa's Lu family had to give Lu Chao face. "This is not a scandal that I made up. This is the truth. Before the matter becomes more serious, I will expose you in advance. Your Lu family still has to thank me. Otherwise, if your family's miss gets pregnant and the 2 girls fight for a husband, wouldn't it be really chaotic? In addition, I am more in line with the Jin family's wishes. The old men in Beijing will also protect me, right? What am I afraid of?" With this kind of thought, Zhou Wei appeared to be especially arrogant on the phone. Qin Guang suppressed his anger. He could not speak too harshly to Zhou Wei now. If he really forced this lunatic into a corner and released the video now, it would really cause an uproar. Tell me, what do you want? Qin Guang tried to make his tone sound calm. Zhou Wei became even more cocky. Mr. Qin, if you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Qin Guang almost crushed his phone. What the hell did I do in the first place? Your entire 8 weekly magazines are now mine, okay? However, he was under the eaves and he had a handle on him. Qin Guang really could not tell Zhou Wei this unfortunate news. What if this bastard really wanted to fight to the death? Qin Guang tried hard to control his acting. He really expressed his anger and helplessness vividly and vividly, only hiding his murderous aura. He was grateful for the foundation of world-class acting. Alright, stop talking nonsense. Name your price. 40 million. We have reached a strategic cooperation. From now on, you will never see any scandals related to you on the internet. Zhou Wei and 8 weekly magazines will be your strong support. Xianxia is my niece after all. Although this matter between you and her makes me a little unhappy as an elder, I also understand Xianxia. Who doesn't love money? I love it too. How about it? My price is reasonable, right? Otherwise, I will hold a press conference tomorrow and announce the video in public. When that time comes, you will really be drawing water with a sieve. Zhou Wei's tone softened. He also knew that he should stop when he was ahead. He wanted money, not to kill. He also did not dare to force Qin Guang too much. After all, there was the precedent of Su Lijing and his son dying in court. Although Zhou Wei had a backer, if he really died in the hands of Qin Guang, even if Boss Lu avenged him, it would be meaningless. If he lost his life, what was the use of money? Tomorrow? Qin Guang asked. Zhou Wei nodded. Yes, tomorrow at 10 in the morning. You can take a look on the internet now. I have already announced to the public that I will hold a press conference tomorrow. If we come to an agreement, then tomorrow's press conference will be my public apology to you. Even if you slap me dozens of times during the press conference or knock out all my teeth, it doesn't matter. I promise that my apology will be sincere, and I promise that you will be satisfied and comfortable. But if we don't come to an agreement, you know the consequences. It will be up to you. This time it really is an ultimatum. There is no room for negotiation. Qin Guang's heart slightly relaxed. Since Zhou Wei did not plan to explode now, it was fine. Let me think about it tonight. I will give you a final answer tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. How about that? If I wait until 9:30 tomorrow, then it will be 50 million. Zhou Wei increased the price again. Qin Guang cursed, bastard. Then he hung up the phone and felt completely at ease. Tomorrow morning, right? I will give you a surprise. Lu Fei came up to him. How's the situation? What did Zhou Wei say? It's all my fault. If I hadn't been too crazy today, I wouldn't have given this guy the opportunity. Qin Guang patted her shoulder and comforted her. Why is it your fault? Aren't I quite happy right now? I got such a great deal today. I don't usually have such an opportunity. Stop it. I regret it so much, Lu Fei said as she stomped her feet. Qin Guang shook his head. It's fine. He told me to think about it until tomorrow morning. If we can't come to an agreement, then he will hold a press conference tomorrow. I will call Lu Chao first and see what he has to say to me. After making the call, Qin Guang knew that Lu Chao really could not be blamed for this matter. It turned out that after he left, Bai Hua dragged Lu Chao, Wang Guxiong and Fourth Master Yin to talk business. Since everyone had settled the deal, they could talk about some details that were difficult to discuss in front of so many people. The more the four of them talked, the more in-depth they got. They talked about the new energy project that was worth hundreds of millions of yuan. Unknowingly, 2 hours had passed and they still had not finished talking business. On the other side, Lu Chao was not in a hurry to call Zhou Wei. He only wanted to talk about it after the matter was over. When Lu Chao heard that Zhou Wei actually caused such a huge commotion in the past 2 hours, he was dumbfounded. Although he was not scared out of his wits, he still jumped 3 feet high from the sofa. The project that was worth hundreds of millions of yuan was almost completed. Zhou Wei, you fool, are you trying to cause trouble? Chapter 636. Lu Chao hurriedly informed the other 3 and said that he would go to the side for a while. Then he found a corner and gritted his teeth. Xiaochen, don't worry. I'll definitely give you an explanation. I'll get someone to kidnap Zhou Wei and bring him back. I'll listen to you if you want to beat or kill him. Damn it, this guy is crazy. After a brief pondering, Qin Guang rejected Lu Chao's suggestion and continued. Uncle Lu, in my opinion, Zhou Wei should be storing the video of me on the internet right now. If you get someone to capture him and force him into a corner, he might even find an informant to help him and threaten us with the video. What should we do then? Lu Chao slapped his forehead in realization. Usually he was always in control of the situation, but this time he was confused by the sudden situation. However, with Qin Guang's reminder, he immediately recovered his heroic nature. Lu Chao said calmly, "That's true. But it doesn't matter. I have someone I can absolutely trust in Octave Weekly. Zhou Wei wouldn't have his guard up against me anyway. Even Zhou Wei's personal assistant is completely under my control. So I'll definitely control the video first and then deal with him slowly." Qin Guang nodded. Since Lu Chao had already made arrangements, he could rest assured. That's right. As long as we control the video, everything else can be discussed. Then this press conference. Let him continue to cause trouble online. Tomorrow morning I'll go with you to Octave Weekly and not give him any chance to struggle. How about it? Lu Chao said again. With Lu Chao's status, it was overkill for him to deal with a lackey. But considering that Qin Guang couldn't afford to take any risks, it wouldn't be too much for Lu Chao to cause a commotion. Qin Guang smiled. He could imagine the despair on Zhou Wei's face when he realized that his greatest backer had abandoned him tomorrow, just as Zhou Wei was about to rip him off with a knife. Let him continue to hype up tomorrow's press conference. The more he did, the better. It would only increase the number of people who would come to see him overturn the case. Nowadays, there were too many scandals about Zhou Wei on the internet. Gradually, a lot of marketing accounts started to follow the trend and hype it up. If they wanted to eliminate the negative impact of the whole incident in one go, they could only use strong medicine. He lit the big bomb that Zhou Wei had made himself and blew him up in one go. After hanging up, Rufei asked nervously, "How was it?" Qin Guang heaved a sigh of relief. "It's fine now. Let's wait for a good show tomorrow morning." Seeing his confident look, Lu Fei also breathed a sigh of relief. "It's good that you're fine. Otherwise I would really be a sinner. Don't blame yourself. You can't be blamed for this. You can only blame Lu Chao for being too slow." "That's right. I always thought that he was a reliable elder, but I didn't expect him to be so unreliable. By the way, I feel that there's something strange going on between you and Baihua. You seem to be afraid of him. This isn't like you at all. A woman's intuition could be so terrifying." Today, Rufei had only seen Qin Guang and Baihua chatting for a while, and she had already hit the nail on the head. Unfortunately, Qin Guang was no longer the same as before. His world-class acting skills had reappeared, and his ability to lie through his teeth had been enhanced. "Of course not. There's no such thing. You must be seeing things." Rufei looked at him a few more times. Although she still didn't believe him, his acting was too good. It was as if he had a clear conscience. "Forget it. Get in the car. We're going back." Rufei waved her hand. Qin Guang responded and returned to the car unhappily. He still felt a little upset. Today was such a good day. The moon was bright and the stars were sparse. It was the perfect time for cars to shake, but that scum with the surname Zhou ruined it. This enmity was irreconcilable. "If I don't make you bloom all over the place, my surname isn't Qin." When the girl sat on Rufei's lap again, Qin Guang started the car and drove back. "Look at your aggrieved face. It really hurts my heart." Seeing that there were no more problems, Rufei began to tease Qin Guang again. Qin Guang's face was bitter. "How can I not feel bad? I've already started the fire and now it's like this. Don't I feel bad?" He wasn't wrong. After all, he was the strongest pile driver in history. Even after such a long time, as soon as he sat down and smelled the scent of the two women in the car, his swollen body began to show signs of swelling again. "Actually, you don't have to send me back. Liamo lost today." The girl turned her head and looked at Qin Guang. Although there was a dark shadow, she could clearly see the shape of a huge tent. She silently swallowed her saliva. This time, Qin Guang didn't wait for Rufei to speak. He spoke first. "Thank you for thinking so highly of me, but I really can't do this. What I did just now was already too much. That's enough. Humans in life have to do something. I don't think this is right. Look at my crotch, it's about to burst, but I really don't want to do anything with you." "Why?" The girl couldn't understand. Rufei also teased him. "Hypocrite. F***CKU. This is not a hypocrite. Qin Guang glared at Ru Fei. Then he looked at the girl again. As he drove, he said, let's put it this way. I don't even know your current name and I don't want to ask for it. We've met today and from now on our fate is over. Yes, I know that many men like this kind of one-night stand. The night is long and after passion they don't know each other anymore. Seems like a beautiful thing. But everyone has their own aspirations. Others like this, but I really can't do it. Moreover, you have a boyfriend. If I really do something with you and you go back to live with your boyfriend, I'll feel uncomfortable. It's really awkward. Qin Guang said this sincerely. When it came to the matters between men and women, he really wasn't that free and easy. Call him selfish or possessive, but he didn't care. After all, he couldn't be considered as truly loyal to anyone. But he really couldn't accept this girl's situation. If he were to have a little fun, the other person would be the one to suffer. If he really did something, he might have taken advantage of her. But when the girl returned to the other person's embrace, he would feel that there was grass growing on his head. But after all, they had never interacted with each other, and it seemed that there was no chance for them to talk more in the future. This little girl didn't seem to be outstanding enough for him to be interested in her, so it was better to send her back. Save effort and have a clear conscience. Although he didn't dare to boast that he was noble, he didn't want to be too despicable. It was rare for Qin Guang to put on such a serious expression in front of Lu Fei, and Lu Fei was a little stunned by him. She always thought that he was a little kid, but she didn't expect him to be so scary when he was fierce. Forget it, I better not tease him with this little girl or else he will really get angry. Lu Fei felt that the atmosphere in the car was a little heavy. If it wasn't for your tent, I would almost believe it. In all honesty, this is really just my body's instinct, but it can't hide the purity of my heart. Yes, you are the purest in the world. Lu Fei rolled her eyes but didn't say anything more. Qin Guang didn't know that today's experience had really made his image in Lu Fei's mind go to the gates of hell. Don't be fooled by her completely crazy appearance, but in fact her heart was very clear. Lu Fei was also not a girl from an ordinary family. Although she still had a playful heart, she still had her own balance in her heart. If Qin Guang really slept with this little girl, perhaps Lu Fei wouldn't have any thoughts at the time, but if he wanted to touch her in the future, she would have to think carefully in the depths of her heart. You said that I won't marry for the rest of my life. I will play with you, I will play with you, I will play with you, but in any case I have a place in your heart. You can't be too casual, right? If Qin Guang really behaved so casually in the relationship between men and women, Lu Fei would really have to question what kind of existence she was in his heart. Just like this, it's pretty good, your answer is full marks. Qin Guang's act of throwing away sesame unconsciously saved himself a big watermelon. Along the way, Lu Fei kept looking at the side of Qin Guang's face and between his legs from time to time. She also felt quite ashamed. Today's situation was a bit torturous, he looked so pitiful. But then again, ordinary people don't have this ability, right? How long has it been? Why don't you lie down for me? This guy's talent is really scary. 10 minutes later, the three of them drove back to the Phoenix Spring Mountain racetrack. The place was still lively and Liemo was still sitting on the side of the road smoking in a daze. Why is Racer God back? Someone recognized the car from afar and asked curiously. Liemo suddenly raised his head and looked at the Porsche 918 that was gradually approaching. His heart felt as if it had been flipped over. It can't be that Brother Racer God's time is so short, right? Go to hell, how dare you slander my idol like that? Believe it or not, I'll fight you to the death. Brother, let's talk this out. I'm not bragging, I know physiognomy. Do you know what Brother Racer God's physiognomy represents? What? That's the face of a jackal, wolf, tiger and leopard, do you understand? It's the kind of scary face that can sleep with 10 women in a night. The masculine aura on his body is soaring to the sky, like a rainbow piercing the sun. The young man who was chatting with the fortune teller looked up at the night sky. Then here's the problem. It's nighttime now, so where is the sun? Tisk, mortals. Summer insects, and I can't talk about ice. This fake fortune teller who was pretending to be a fortune teller would never have guessed that he had actually revealed the greatest secret of heaven. Liemo, we've returned your woman to you in one piece. Don't King cry like we're the ones who bullied you. Are you trying to make me feel a little guilty? Qin Guang stopped the car beside Liemo. Lu Fei opened the door to let the girl out as she spoke to Liemo. Liemo smiled bitterly and shook his head. I wouldn't dare. I didn't think that way, Sister Lu Fei. You can think whatever you want, but remember today's lesson. Be nice to women and live like a dog. Don't live like a walking genitalia. If it wasn't me and Qin Guang here today but someone weaker and incapable, think about what would have happened to them? Would you let them off so easily? Don't think that just because you're a little capable you can be arrogant. Grow a brain or you'll fall to the ground sooner or later. It's also because I'm in a good mood today and can't be bothered to argue with you. Otherwise, do you really want to pick up your woman? Do you believe that I can beat you to death? Lu Fei said this and waved her hand coolly. Let's go. After driving far away, Qin Guang said, You're kind enough to teach others a lesson. Lu Fei sighed. I can't help it. I'm a good person after all. You call that a good person? You tormented me and the other girls like that. Qin Guang's lower body began to swell in pain. He had been tormented by her for too long without a place to rest. It was really unbearable. Lu Fei argued with him. You don't understand. This is called a principle. Do you understand? Principle. Business is the same as being a person. You have to be easygoing when you need to be, and you have to be serious when you need to be. Although it's just a simple bet between you and Liamo, you have to uphold the spirit of the contract. No matter if it's good or bad, as long as the spirit of the contract exists, you have to keep your word. This is your responsibility for your life as well as the lives of Liamo and his woman. You have to keep your word. You have to be responsible for what you say and do. You have to bear the consequences, good or bad. Otherwise, how do you think I'll take over the family business? Just by relying on the little bit of knowledge I have? With my talent? With my intuition, all businessmen are wrong. I'm relying on absolute respect for the spirit of the contract. So, Lu Fei's reasoning was quite good. Qin Guang teased. Then you said before that if I only take you racing, you'll never marry and be my lover for life? That's what I said. I'm a man of my word. Lu Fei said heavily. I'm not joking with you. All right, then look at me now. Qin Guang was still speeding up. It had been more than 10 minutes since they left Fengquan Mountain. This time his speed was very fast. At this time they had almost reached the city's third ring road. The street lights on the main road were bright and the cars were crowded. There was a sense of grievance in his tone. A certain part of him was hurting more and more. Although the pile driver was good, don't be greedy. Today had really been a torment for her. Stop the car by the side of the road. Lu Fei suddenly said. Qin Guang was shocked. What are you going to do? Isn't this place a little too exciting? You wish. I'm not going to take off my clothes. Lu Fei rolled her eyes at him charmingly and licked her lips. You know what I mean. Qin Guang nodded. I know. 2 whole hours later. Woo. What are you talking about? Qin Guang leaned against the driver's seat, feeling refreshed. Woo. Qin Guang still didn't understand what Lu Fei was talking about. Lu Fei, who was furious, pushed him hard. Then she took out her phone and sent him a text message. Are you made of iron or steel? My mouth can't even speak. Send me home. Then you can take a taxi and leave. I still have a meeting at the company tomorrow morning. You've killed me. Chapter 637. Qin Guang chuckled all the way until he sent Lu Fei home. Then he went online and returned to his neighborhood. There was a small interlude. In the past, when he used to book taxis online, there were 2 competing companies. One of them was an online company that Xin Yuliang had a stake in, which was also the company Qin Guang had registered as a driver. The other company was from America. Recently it seemed that the 2 companies had merged. Xin Yuliang and his online company had eaten up their competitors, so the taxi fare had skyrocketed. It was at least 50% more expensive than before. Fortunately, old Master Guang said that he was already a tycoon and did not care about this bit of money. If it had been the old him, he would have simply run back himself. Along the way he played with his phone and looked at the movements on the internet. Although he knew that the mess he had caused with Zhou Wei should be completely settled by tomorrow morning, he was still furious. Everyone pushed a wall when it was down and a kind person was bullied by others. There were few who spoke up for justice, but there were many who hit him when he was down. In just a day or two all sorts of people had popped up on the internet. From the afternoon until now, the first people to make things difficult for Qin Guang were many big shots in the domestic economics world. These experts used the current bubble of the internet celebrity economy as an entry point. They analyzed the possible drawbacks of the sudden popularity of the internet celebrity economy in a seemingly simple way, commenting on the negative effects that could be caused by society's ideology and whatnot. They spoke as if they were very sophisticated and reasonable. However, they all pointed out Qin Guang's name without exception, secretly accusing Qin Guang of being an uneducated, immoral and corrupt person. It was the tragedy of society for a person like Qin Guang to become an economic phenomenon by relying on the impetuous internet celebrity economy to open a company to earn money. These experts said that if a person like Qin Guang became a rich person, it would go against the basic ethics of society. The big shots in economics all said that the biggest bubble of the internet celebrity economy was that people became famous too suddenly. These internet celebrities only took one aspect of their personal characteristics to the extreme, but in fact their own moral qualities were completely below the standard. For such people to become successful through one-sided and despicable hype and cheating was a great injustice to those ordinary people who worked in their respective positions in obscurity. Although these big shots in economics did not have many fans on Weibo, they were quite famous in the industry. Naturally, some people would regard their words and attitudes as the truth. Perhaps it was out of friendship, or perhaps it was because some well-known entrepreneurs really did not like Qin Guang, but they shared all sorts of comments. Perhaps it was out of friendship, or perhaps it was because they really did not like Qin Guang, they shared all sorts of comments. Ordinary netizens wouldn't doubt the doubtful points in the professor's words. They couldn't be bothered if Qin Guang was the kind of person that was exposed on the internet. They were just filled with hatred for the rich from the comments of the professors. They would wonder how a rotten person like him could become famous, popular, and receive a huge investment of 130 million yuan from the Tang Jie Fund while lying on the ground. The wave of boycotting Qin Guang was once again lifted to a new height. However, this was not the end. The second wave came from the entertainment industry. Zhang Tianming, Li Longwei and others in the entertainment industry who did not like Qin Guang spoke up for Jin Shiyue and accused Qin Guang of being indecisive. A person who became famous and successful for no reason would always arouse the jealousy of others. However, in the past, Qin Guang was powerful and had a stable relationship with Jin Shiyue. Some people who did not like Qin Guang dared not speak up, or perhaps they felt that it was better to avoid trouble. However, now that things had come to this, people from all walks of life in the country were discussing this matter. It was as if they would be out of the mainstream circle if they did not make a statement on this matter. It was time to stand up and speak up, to uphold justice for this dark and despicable world. The people in the entertainment industry spoke up, and the limelight was even fiercer than the experts in the economics field. After all, these artists had millions of fans and some even had tens of millions. Their fans did not even think that Zhang Tianming was actually unhappy with Qin Guang, just because he was the male lead in Tears for a Country, and had stolen the limelight for Qin Guang. Li Longwei's reason was even simpler. The woman he liked was snatched away. However, the fans of these artists did not care about this and they did not think about this. They only knew how to crazily wave flags and cheer behind their idols, supporting their idols. Seeing that the matter was getting more and more serious, Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage could not help but take the initiative to post blog posts, expressing their complete trust in Qin Guang, and stating that this matter was caused by 8 Weekly. In the articles published by the two, they listed several cases of 8 Weekly using or fabricating scandals about artists to blackmail and extort as evidence. The two's blog posts were issued by the studio with a red stamp, and they solemnly stated that they would pursue the legal responsibility of those who spread rumors and slander in this matter. However, it was useless and still useless. Once the anger of the crowd was ignited, unless it was like what Qin Guang was going to do tomorrow, directly using a big bomb to turn the world upside down, it was meaningless to just pour some water on it. Even Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage's own Weibo were followed by a wave of scolding. The artists in the industry who had a good relationship with the two girls, or who reposted or posted to support them, were also swept away by the haters like a wave. Even Jin Shiyue and Jiang Yage couldn't save the situation, let alone the support of other professional darts, underground racing and Dota professional circle players. Their words carried little weight and were useless. The entire online world seemed to have fallen into a fanatical carnival, as if they would be out of touch with the times if they did not say a few words on their own Weibo. The Weibo hashtag Qin Guang cheated in just a day or two had directly rushed to the terrifying figure of 4.46 billion. This meant that almost everyone in the country knew about this matter. In the past 2 days, Qin Guang did not update much on Weibo, but the number of his Weibo fans did not decrease, and instead kept increasing crazily. Until now, compared to before the matter was exposed, it had increased by at least 6 million, reaching a terrifying figure of close to 20 million. They were all living people. However, the comments below Weibo gradually became more and more unsightly. Behind the silence is golden was the public's voice, and the people who scolded him had completely gained the upper hand. Qin Guang faced the possibility of the public's image completely collapsing, and deleting posts and controlling the public's opinion could no longer change the situation. However, if he wanted to fight a lawsuit with 8 Weekly, the matter would drag on for at least half a year. By then, the direction of the public's opinion would be set, and even if the matter passed, it would still form such an impression in many people's hearts. The anger of the entire online world seemed to be vented on him alone. Fortunately, Qin Guang himself had a big heart, and he knew that the case would be overturned tomorrow morning. Otherwise, he would definitely be angered to death. You bunch of scum, fortunately, the old man has a killer weapon, or else I would really be scolding you for the rest of my life. I'm not bragging, but all of you owe me an apology. Forget it, it's a bit too difficult to make people apologize. $1 in exchange for an apology. This way I can earn at least 7 or 800 million, right? Damn, that's a lot of money, but it's a pity I can't get it. Alright, he admitted that he was really a little distressed. On the other hand, after Lu Chao had arranged everything, he finally took the initiative to call Zhou Wei. Lu Chao adjusted his mood and said in a joking tone, "Zhou Wei, you've caused quite a stir on the internet these few days, haven't you?" Zhou Wei had no idea that half of his head was hanging on a steel wire, and he was still laughing proudly. "Boss, you finally know? This time I really have my eyes on a big fish." Lu Chao grunted, "It's quite big." Lu Chao really wanted to scold him. A big fish is good, but you have to consider whether you can eat it or not, right? This fish is a shark and it eats people, do you know? On the other side, Zhou Wei still did not get the hint from Lu Chao's words, and he was still full of enthusiasm. "Boss, this Qin Guang is really a fat fish, and I have something on him and he has no foundation. I didn't embarrass you in these 8 weeks, did I? There's nothing embarrassing about it. I asked you to do 8 weeks, but I hope that you will do your job well. Just watch Luxian culture for me and don't meddle too much with other things." Lu Chao still hinted at Zhou Wei in the end. But Zhou Wei still did not understand his painstaking efforts, and he was still in a frenzy. He said indifferently, "Boss, that's not the case. Who does Qin Guang think he is? How can he monopolize all the money in the world? Everyone who sees it should have a share. I've already invested a lot, but as long as this matter is settled with him, we can easily get 30 million. You're really digging your own grave, Zhou Wei." Lu Chao couldn't help sneering. What Qin Guang said to him wasn't just 30 million yen, but 40 million yen tonight and 50 million yen tomorrow morning. Aren't you a little too bold? At this time you even dare to lie to me? Also, that Qin Guang that you said has no foundation has already put a knife to my neck today, okay? If it was so easy to earn money, why would I have to sell 8 weeks to him for $1? Do you even know how stupid you are? Forget it, you definitely don't know. Tell me the details of the matter then. If anything happens, I can be prepared. As far as I know, this Qin Guang has some background, Lu Chao said hypocritically. Zhou Wei then told Lu Chao everything that had happened. Lu Chao clearly knew everything, but he pretended to listen with great interest. Zhou Wei was full of fighting spirit as he complained about how arrogant Qin Guang was, how he would beat people up whenever there was a disagreement, and how he would send people to the hospital after beating them up. Zhou Wei's trusted assistant had been sitting next to him since the beginning. He glanced at the China's #1 paparazzi who had single-handedly created the 8 weekly dynasties, beaming with joy and did not say much. He held his chin and turned to look at the brightly lit 5 capital city through the floor-to-ceiling glass. He looked like he was daydreaming. But in his heart he was thinking that his new boss, Qin Guang, had a temper that was more violent than Zhou Wei's, and he also abhorred evil. Now that they've gotten into such an unpleasant situation, the entire company would probably be dissolved. Although he had become a spy today and might be considered a meritorious official in the future, everyone's philosophy was different, and he couldn't stay in this place any longer. The deputy looked at Zhou Wei again, feeling a little dissatisfied. "If it weren't for the fact that you, the leader, were blinded by your greed, racking your brains to earn money that you shouldn't have, we wouldn't have ended up like this. Ever since I came to the 8 weekly, I have lost myself. I used to be a naive young man, and I wanted to be an upright reporter with such a pure heart. I wanted to write down everything I saw, take pictures and put them in front of the public so that the public could use their independent thinking to look at these things and phenomena. But when I really became a media person, especially after coming to the 8 Weekly, I was influenced by Zhou Xian. Initially, I felt that the celebrities who looked glamorous on the surface were disgusting, and I wanted to use real footage to expose the ugliness of these people to the public. Then I gradually started to add oil and vinegar to the articles I published, adding in subjective concepts, just to confuse the public, attract attention and stir up controversy. In the end, I became a despicable person who made up news in order to gain popularity or create popularity. He took a deep breath. His nostrils were filled with a strange rotting stench at night in the office of Octopus Weekly. He didn't know if it was just his imagination. Maybe this place really stinks, or maybe the stench is coming from me. Who knows? Forget it. Tomorrow it's time to leave here and try to be myself again. Lu Chao finally said, "It's good to have something on Chen Guang. Have a good chat with him tomorrow, but there's no need to make our relationship too rigid. You must hide the video well and remove it from the internet as soon as possible. The things on the internet are not necessarily reliable. Also, don't put it everywhere in the company. Be careful that the people below copy it and the consequences will be unimaginable." Zhou Xian nodded repeatedly and flattered, "Boss, you're so thoughtful. I'll just get a small USB drive and put it in my pocket. I won't put anything else." When Qin Guang got home, it was already past midnight. The area downstairs was a mess. There were scattered pieces of paper everywhere, and there was also a large photo that had been burned until only a third of it remained. The photo was clearly of Qin Guang's chin. The angry crowd finally found their way here, as if protesting downstairs and venting their anger would be able to express their justice in their hearts. Qin Guang couldn't be bothered to ridicule these people who had completely lost their judgment because of public opinion. Not only did he not hate them, but he also felt that they were very pitiful. When he walked out of the elevator, he heard a crackling sound coming from the room. His heart immediately tightened. Did someone break into his house? Then wouldn't I beat you to death? Clenching his fists, he opened the door. Before Qin Guang could open his mouth to speak, he was shocked by the doomsday-like scene in the room. Chapter 638. The high-quality leather sofa fell crookedly to the ground. The leather cover was full of shocking cracks, and the sponge inside was hanging on the floor like popcorn. The glass coffee table had already fallen to the ground, broken into countless pieces. Even the legs of the coffee table were bent. The top-of-the-line gaming machine that was originally placed in the living room was also crooked and drooping. Qin Guang's beloved high-end gaming monitor did not fall, but the fist-sized hole in the middle looked heart-wrenching. The chandelier on the ceiling of the living room was swaying, and most of the beads inside were also broken. Only 2 or 3 beads were emitting a weak light. This was a F***king disaster. Qin Guang gritted his teeth in hatred. "You guys can show off all you want, but you actually dared to tear down my house. This is intolerable." Bang! Just as he was thinking about this, the guest bedroom door was suddenly smashed open from the inside. Wood splinters flew everywhere and the sound was deafening. A slender figure in white flew out from the inside. She was shooting dart after dart from her palm from time to time. Qin Guang's sharp eyes recognized that it was Xen Qin. His pupils shrank. Was there an enemy attack? He gritted his teeth, tensed his muscles, and was about to rush forward when he heard Xen Qin say with a faint smile, "Yo, little Meow Meow, I haven't seen you for 2 years and you've become stronger." A young girl in purple jumped out from the door and let out a string of bell-like laughter. Then she said, "My dear, you're not that bad either. I heard from Master that you were born, and I thought your martial arts had deteriorated. It seems that I was really worried for you for nothing." The young girl in purple held 2 strange ring-shaped weapons in her hands. Obviously she was not easy to deal with. Faced with the dart that Xen Qin threw, she swung her hands continuously and blocked them all. Only the dart that was hit by her flew around randomly. The room was a mess and obviously it was not affected by the dart. In the blink of an eye, the 2 girls, one white and one purple, were fighting again. Both of them were barefoot and they shuttled back and forth in the living room like butterflies. However, when they stepped on the floor, they did not make a sound. It was clear that their lightness kung fu was very good. "Are you guys crazy? Stop right now." Qin Guang finally couldn't take it anymore and roared. If he didn't stop these 2 people, this house would really be torn down today. Ah! Hearing Qin Guang's roar, The two little girls froze in shock and turned their heads to look at him. Qin Guang closed the door and rushed to the two of them with his hands on his waist. He looked down at them and said, "Look at what you've done to this room. Are you going to tear down the entire building?" "Brother Qin Guang, it's not like that. We were very careful when we were sparring. We always tiptoed on the floor. We couldn't hear anything from downstairs," Xianxia explained in a low voice, her face red. "You still have the face to quibble? Oh my God. My monitor. My crocodile skin sofa. This sofa is made of artificial leather. Shut up. My mahogany dining table. This is cypress wood." I said shut up. Qin Guang's anguish was too numerous to list. Xianxia didn't even dare to raise her head. He was also quite regretful. She hadn't seen Wu Miaowan for a long time. The two of them were just sparring casually, but they didn't expect that they would get so excited that they forgot the gravity of the situation. This wasn't a training room. "At most I'll just pay with my body. My good brother, don't be angry. I won't dare to do it again." Xianxia moved closer to Qin Guang, grabbed his arm and started shaking it. She rubbed her little mantou on his arm and purposely used a soft Taiwanese accent. It was enough to make one's bones melt. What did it feel like to be acted like a spoiled child by a peerless lowly? Even though he knew that she was pretending to be pitiful, Qin Guang couldn't help but think, "She's so innocent, so unpretentious. Oh my God, I can't take it anymore. Look at her delicate face, then look at her tender little face that makes people want to pinch it with their hands, and look at her adorable aggrieved expression. I really can't resist it." Qin Guang's heart almost softened. If it wasn't for the fact that the head of his wife had been smashed in front of him, he wouldn't have done it. Everything else was fine, but Qin Guang really felt sorry for his machine. The sofa, chandelier, coffee table and dining table weren't worth much. After all, it was a rented house. The landlord wouldn't have provided anything high-end, but his machine was really expensive. Money was one thing. As a veteran otaku, the computer was basically half a wife. Half a wife, and now her face was disfigured. No, her head was smashed. "Wife, I'm sorry. Wife, you died so tragically. I can't let her go like this. Wife, your sacrifice won't be in vain. Don't think I can forgive you just like this. You haven't had enough of the spanking last time, right? You've been too lawless recently, Deputy Director." Therefore he gritted his teeth and made up his mind to teach Xianxia a lesson. Seeing that her coquettish technique didn't work, Xianxia thought of a famous saying. The great Daji once said, "There's no man's anger in this world that can't be resolved by coquettish. If there is, then do it twice." Xianxia winked at the other little lowly Wu Miaowan. Wu Miaowan understood and moved closer. She grabbed Qin Guang's other arm and used the same tone as Xianxia and said coquettishly, "That's right. Brother Qin Guang, don't be angry. We know we're in the wrong." A new problem arose. What did it feel like to be attacked from both sides by two peerless lolas? Qin Guang felt that he definitely wouldn't be able to find the answer. Wu Miaowan was dressed in a purple chiffon dress. Although he didn't know where this girl came from, she was not someone to be trifled with. Wu Miaowan exuded the same refreshing aura as Xianxia. Her slightly chubby cheeks made her look even cuter. However, the purple dress she was wearing and her eyes were simply dotted with eyeshadow. It added a mysterious charm to her appearance. Wu Miaowan and Xianxia, the purple and white lolas, unleashed their killing moves at the same time. Qin Guang felt that even if they wanted to blow up the entire building with a bomb, he could probably light the fuse for them. Forget it. I'll just forgive them." Qin Guang used to think that he was a strong-willed person. Only today did he realize that the temptations and tests he faced in the past were not strong enough. The most beautiful thing in the world was a lolas. If one had to ask what was more beautiful than a lolas, Qin Guang would tell others the answer was two. Mr. Director, this is a misunderstanding. Please don't blame Xianxia. She didn't do it on purpose." Qin Guang's brief silence made Xianxia and Wu Miaowan think that he was still angry. Wu Miaowan did not hesitate to sell out her comrades in the Lolas alliance. Xianxia glared fiercely. How could she let Wu Miaowan throw the blame to her so easily? "Didn't you say that you wanted to spar? Otherwise, why would I fight you? You were the one who said that I, the Thousand Flower Valley's senior sister, am inferior to you." Wu Miaowan screamed. The two of them looked like they were about to start fighting again. "All of you shut up. Qin Guang roared, then gave each of the two Lolas a hard slap on their little butts. The two of them screamed and covered their butts as they shrank to the side. Now they were completely quiet. After the three of them chatted for a while, Qin Guang finally understood why Xianxia left the banquet without saying goodbye. She had mentioned a long time ago that the jade bottle that Qin Guang snatched from the poison sect's dark sect contained the empowering pills that Xianxia's Thousand Despair sect and Thousand Flower Valley had worked together to produce and sell. Although Thousand Flower Valley was not considered a wealthy sect in the Jianghu, they were quite accomplished in the art of alchemy. Other than that, Thousand Flower Valley was one of the few all-female sects in the Jianghu. Their disciples were skilled in alchemy and traditional Chinese medicine. Thousand Flower Valley and Thousand Despair sect had been friends for many years. The two sects had always shared a common enemy. This time, Thousand Despair sect had decided to stand up for the Jianghu alliance. As a loyal ally, Thousand Flower Valley naturally had to show their support. Thus, they sent Thousand Flower Valley's senior sister, Wu Miaoan, who was of the same rank as Xianxia. Today, Xianxia had gone to pick her up. The two of them had known each other since they were young and had grown up fighting and fooling around. Apart from Wu Miaoan, no one in the same generation in the two sects could spar with Xianxia. However, the two of them had not seen each other for a long time and had gone overboard. They had treated Qin Guang's house as a cultivation room in their sect and had almost torn the house down. So you're saying that you're also the deputy director of the Jianghu Alliance? Qin Guang asked Wu Miaoan as he forced himself to cross his legs. Thankfully, there was a complete stool in the house. At least he could sit on it and talk to the two of them. Wu Miaoan nodded. That's right. My dear one is the deputy director, so of course I'm the deputy director too. Oh right, Qin Guang is the only one who grows up, but shouldn't the deputy directors be ranked in order? My birthday is 3 days older than my dear one, so I should be the first deputy director. Screw you. I'll go first. How can you rank the deputy directors according to age? I'm the first deputy director and you're the second. Xianxia started to argue again. Qin Guang coughed twice. Shut up, both of you. Looking at the two deputy directors, he felt a headache coming on. Forget it. Fortunately, there was something to be happy about today. It was time for the special training cup again. When Xianxia was alone, he sometimes felt that the little loli was reliable and efficient. Now that there was another loli, she did not help at all, and the house was in such a mess. Also, old Master Jean, do you know how toxic the two deputy directors you've arranged for me are? I'm your grandson-in-law and you're testing my willpower like this. Are you a real man? Actually, this matter was not decided by old Master Jean. The Thousand Despair sect and Thousand Flower Valley were enthusiastic about this matter, and it was enough to make the old masters burst with joy. The fact that an inner force was willing to work with them meant that their years of hard work had not been wasted in the hands of the Special Affairs Bureau. Why would they care if the inner force's partner was a man or a woman, beautiful or ugly? Moreover, if old Master Jean really wanted to avoid it, he would first avoid Wen, the young mistress of the Wen family who obviously had a close relationship with Qin Guang. However, he could not avoid it, so he simply let it be and let Wu Miaoan come over. Sai, forget it. I can't be bothered to talk to the two of you. Take care. As he said that, he got up and went to get the herbs. Fortunately, the two of them had not touched anything in his bedroom. Otherwise, he would not be able to reason with them if they smashed the herbs. Xianxia and Wu Miaoan looked at each other, feeling uneasy at Qin Guang's lack of interest. It seemed like the deputy director was really angry. The two of them stood carefully at the door of Qin Guang's bedroom and said in a crisp voice, "We're sorry, big brother Qin Guang. We know we're in the wrong. We won't do it again." This time they were not purposely acting coquettishly. They were sincerely apologizing. Seeing that he had managed to subdue the two of them, Qin Guang did not make things difficult for them. All right, it's good that you know you're in the wrong. Then help me brew the medicine. You want to soak in medicine again? Xianxia was a little bored. Originally, she was very interested in Qin Guang's medicinal bath. However, ever since she witnessed him absorbing the medicine in the bathtub at a speed visible to the naked eye, she completely gave up on the idea. It's not that I don't want to secretly learn the painting scroll, but the deputy director is too beastly. I really can't learn this trick. However, now was the best time to show off. Just as Xianxia was about to take the medicine, Wu Miaoan rushed to the front. I'll do it. I'm a professional. I'll do it. Xianxia began to argue again. Dream on. You're a lousy metal dregs thrower. Do you believe that I won't poke 700 to 800 holes in your body? I'll let you have a taste of what it means to be chilled to the core. Come on. I'm not afraid of you. Qin Guang hurriedly coughed. Otherwise the two of them would tear down the house again. Xianxia pouted angrily and threw the medicine bag into Wu Miaowan's hands. Take it. Wu Miaowan walked away proudly like a peacock that had just won a fight. She really did not speak nonsense. Brewing medicine was her profession and she knew it very well. That's enough. Since you two are childhood friends, don't keep fighting and causing trouble for me. You see, I've been so dizzy these past few days that my head is about to explode. You two can stop worrying about me. I'll go out tomorrow morning and might have to show my face in public. You two don't have to follow me. If it was just you, I could still explain myself. Now that there's another lowly, I really feel like I've fallen into a pit of yellow mud. However, I'll say this first. No matter what you two do, you have to return everything to its original state when I return. You have the money, so you settle it yourself. Qin Guang ordered. Xianxia replied weakly, all right. This time Qin Guang was training the tibialis anterior muscle group in the front of the shin. He had prepared 5 million faith points. He could finally enjoy the treatment of a small pawn that he had once looked down on. There was no need to describe the process. In short, he was tortured to death by the gym equipment that Azure had transformed into. Then, under Wu Miaowan's eager gaze, he sucked up all the medicinal energy in the bathtub. Xianxia, who was wrapped in a bath towel, pretended to scrub Qin Guang's back while patting the edge of the steel bathtub. She said to Wu Miaowan, see, I wasn't bragging, right? Our Lord Swollen Chrysanthemum Head is truly a peerless genius. Wu Miaowan, who was also wrapped in a bath towel, widened her eyes as if they had been photoshopped. What a beast. Xianxia nodded. Although I don't think it's right to scold others, he is indeed a beast. Get out, both of you. Otherwise I won't be a beast but a beast. As Qin Guang roared, the two of them were like startled bunnies as they hopped away. Chapter 639. By the time Qin Guang tidied himself up and came out, another 10 or 20 minutes had passed. It was almost 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Xianxia and Wu Miaowan seemed to have fallen asleep in the same room. Qin Guang ran to their bedroom door and looked inside. He saw the two of them, who had been quarreling fiercely when they were awake, unconsciously hugging each other after they fell asleep. Although they were not fully exposed, they still looked quite pleasing to the eye. These two lolas were really headache-inducing. Lying on the bed, he opened his WeChat and received many messages of condolence from people. Lin Jingwei, ha ha ha. Yes, this was very strong, very die-hard. Lin Jingwei was obviously one of the people who knew the inside story. His condolences were also very unique. By Nyangzi, ha. 1-inch Xiong, my point of view is basically the same as the other two. Although there were some things that Lin Jingwei could not tell the other two grandsons in the dormitory, he did not need to think too much about it. He should have greeted the two of them before this. Sun Xiaoxuan, be strong. I know you and Jin Shuiwei have nothing to do with each other. It's not true that you're being defamed online. Although Sun Xiaoxuan's consolation seemed to be very effective, it did not seem to be the right point. Forget it, don't care about those details. What made Qin Guang the most angry was the chicken soup article that his dad had forwarded on WeChat. Never forget that these two people are always waiting for you with a pot of hot food. Finished reading with tears in my eyes. Qin Guang, I understand the logic, but where are you waiting for me with a pot of hot food? Your son is almost being defamed like Bao Zheng. Don't just focus on sending chicken soup. Give me some real encouragement. Forget it. In any case, his father had always been unreliable. He could not count on these people. Before he fell asleep, he opened the Weibo app and casually wrote a Weibo post. Justice is in everyone's heart. See you at the press conference tomorrow. Then he didn't look at the comments below. He didn't need to look to know that most of them were against him. Although he had a lot of fans, there were only tens of thousands of them at most. There were hundreds of millions of netizens in the country. Now that things had gotten to this point, there might be a lot of people who had turned from fans to haters. Qin Guang didn't care about losing fans. What angered him the most was that he couldn't see his fans' photos in his Weibo private messages anymore. They were all scolding him. He flipped through dozens of pages and still couldn't find his true fans. His heart ached. Boss. Qin Guang posted on Weibo. An 8-weekly employee pushed open Zhou Wei's office door excitedly. Zhou Wei didn't leave the office the whole night. Tomorrow was the press conference. He had to prepare 2 sets of plans and 2 sets of information. One was for Qin Guang to use after he admitted defeat. The other was for Qin Guang to use when he still wanted to fight. He still had a lot of work to do tonight. Zhou Wei opened his eyes in a daze. After about 5 seconds he completely woke up. He sat up straight in his chair. When he saw Qin Guang's Weibo post he instantly laughed. This guy finally admitted defeat. He laughed maniacally. His heart was blooming with joy. 50 million. No, 60 million. Wasn't that a little too much? After all, he only had a total investment of 130 million. In that case 55 million was more or less enough. He quietly squeezed the USB drive in his trouser pocket. It was really indescribable. Everyone who was paying attention to this matter knew that Zhou Wei would be holding a press conference the next morning. When Qin Guang's Weibo post was published, it fell into the eyes of those who were paying attention. Could it be that Qin Guang really planned to appear at Zhou Wei's press conference? But Zhou Wei's original words were that he had serious dirt on Qin Guang to be announced at the press conference. Could it be that the two of them had reached an agreement overnight? That couldn't be, right? If the two of them could come to an agreement they would have done it a long time ago. Why did it have to end up like this? Many entertainment reporters, flommers and marketing accounts felt their balls aching. Although they had followed the trending topic and gained a lot of clicks and attention, it seemed like they had unknowingly been used by Zhou Wei and played within the palm of his hand. Alright, they felt helpless about this matter. But there was nothing they could do. Who asked him to be so capable? He could create his own gossip and content, while their weak marketing accounts could only follow the trending topic. But then again, this Qin Guang was also someone who didn't play by the rules. It was the middle of the night and he wasn't even letting people sleep. By posting a Weibo reply at this time, wasn't he forcing them to crawl out of bed and write jokes? What a torment. Qin Guang's first public statement after the 2-timing incident broke out. Will he meet? Is it Zhou Wei's public opinion kidnapping, or is Qin Guang really shameful? Sister Xiaohua analyzes the entertainment circle for you. Justice is everlasting. Cheaters and swindlers have to stand up to be judged. The most abominable heartless man in the entertainment circle of China. Mysterious man reveals that Qin Guang and a mysterious woman appeared at the foot of Mount Fengquan. Relationship unknown. Dirty gambling at the foot of Mount Fengquan. Qin Guang won someone else's girlfriend. Is his driving skill real or fake? What happened this night? I am Li Mo, the man whose girlfriend Qin Guang won. Thank him for teaching me a lesson. He is a good man and a real god of racing. All kinds of media personnel were knocked out of bed. With a resentful mood, they sat bitterly in front of their computers to search for information, Photoshop pictures and dig up hot news. It was quite a torment. What happened at Mount Fengquan that night was also reported. Although Qin Guang later sent the girl back, what were marketing accounts best at? Taking things out of context. If I wrote the whole story, wouldn't it become positive? There was no controversy about positive things. The audience couldn't use their imagination. I don't care whether you sent her back or not. Anyway, I wrote that you won and took her away. I don't know what happened after that. The audience can imagine it themselves. What could happen to a delicate girl who was won and brought away for a night? I don't need to say more. Anyway, how to attract attention. I'm sorry, I really don't need to care about the authenticity and comprehensiveness of the news. Some people even photoshopped Qin Guang's profile picture to AI ways. Those who made use of the hot news to sell short videos began to get busy. Who didn't love money? As for how they earned it and whether the people involved would be affected badly, who cared? This was really a carnival. Every word and action of Qin Guang could be magnified on the internet in countless ways. But without a doubt, most people still followed the trend and continued to step on it. After all, everyone was looking forward to the hot news. This was Qin Guang's tragedy as a public figure. He couldn't control everyone's mouths. Someone once said, "The more slander you can take, the more praise you can take." The person who said this might not be as righteous as she said, but when used on Qin Guang, it couldn't be more appropriate. But maybe after tomorrow, people would finally know what they owed Qin Guang. The next morning, just as the sky brightened, Qin Guang woke up early and drove out. He and Lu Chao had arranged to meet at a cafe near Zhou Wei's press conference. At around 9 a.m. they set off for the press conference. On the other side, Zhou Wei was confidently talking to his most trusted assistant. Xiao Lu, after today we'll really be rich this time. We'll make it big. To be honest, robbing a bank isn't as comfortable as us. The assistant, Xiao Lu, looked very excited, but he silently touched his shirt pocket. There was a listening device inside. He smiled excitedly and said, "That's right. Don't be like that. Be happy. After we do this, I'll bring everyone overseas for a vacation." Zhou Wei patted him on the shoulder and walked away happily. Xiao Lu looked at Zhou Wei's back and thought, "Boss, compared to robbing a bank, it's really not that much of a risk. Although money is good, you still need to be alive to get it, right?" "Mr. Lu, your subordinate seems to be quite happy," Wang Zhong said. Sitting in the cafe's private room, Qin Guang crossed his legs and said playfully. Lu Chao was a little embarrassed. "Xiaochen, don't tease me. You also know that in our circle there are some shady people. If I don't have a backup plan, they will still be in a tight spot. It's just that I've indulged him all these years and he's become arrogant." Qin Guang nodded. "That's true. If a person doesn't have that ability, once he becomes arrogant, he will explode." Ever since Qin Guang's world-class acting skills took shape, he no longer acted like an ordinary university student in front of a big shot like Lu Chao. He spoke in human language and ghost language. At that moment, Qin Guang had put himself in the shoes of Marlon Brando's godfather. His words were filled with an oppressive aura. Although Lu Chao was slightly uncomfortable, he remembered Tai Xinju's warning to him last night and felt relieved. For a man to have the eldest disciple of the Thousand Despair sect as his bodyguard, only the heavens knew how powerful his background was. The time for the press conference was getting closer and closer. At around 9 o'clock sharp, Qin Guang and Lu Chao walked out of the cafe one after another. Lu Chao walked in front while Qin Guang walked behind him with his hoodie on. On the other side, in the conference room for the press conference, many reporters had already arrived. There were people from all kinds of news media. Most of them were entertainment reporters, but there were also people from the financial media. There were also people from the social science news media. Even people from the legal news media had gathered together. The huge venue of the press conference was already packed to the brim with people. Obviously, even though they knew that they were here to boost Zhou Wei's reputation, and everyone in the industry knew what kind of person Zhou Wei was, no one could resist the temptation of first-hand hot news. After all, no one wanted to wait for someone else's report to come out, only to be forced to republish it. Wouldn't that make the chief editor explode? Zhou Wei hid in the backstage and looked at the time on his watch. It was only 9 o'clock, but there were already so many people. In the blink of an eye, he saw many senior reporters in the industry. In the past, these people had looked down on him. "In the end, all of you still have to beg and lick me. Only I, Zhou Wei, can truly control the public's opinion. As a media person, you have to be completely shameless, let go of your integrity, and do whatever it takes for the sake of breaking news. Only then can you stand at the top of the news media. This is a good lesson for all of you." Thinking about the past few days, Zhou Wei felt a little emotional. It had not been easy. From the beginning, his son was beaten up by Qin Guang, and later, Gongzi's hand was broken by Qin Guang. He had suffered so much that he wanted to vomit blood. At first he thought that he could only rely on pure rumors to discuss Qin Guang. In the end he found out that Qin Guang was entangled with his cousin's niece, Zhou Jingxi, and got first-hand news. Although the people of 8 Weekly were punished badly, and there were still more than 100 people lying in the hospital, it was worth it no matter how big the price was. He got 55 million yuan, paid 30 million yuan to the company, and had 25 million yuan in his pocket. If the company divided the spoils according to the rules, he would get almost 10 million yuan. It was worth it. As long as he had money, everything was negotiable. Zhou Wei's heartbeat gradually sped up. He felt that it had not been easy for him all these years. He had worked so hard for Lu Chao. In order to back up Lu Sherwin, he had endured all kinds of hardships and tiredness. In the middle of the night, he would lie in the grass full of mosquitoes, just to take a photo of someone entering and leaving the neighborhood. Or, after revealing some shocking information, he would be beaten black and blue by some thugs. Although he would be able to avenge himself with Boss Lu, he would still be in pain. To be honest, this time he had been forced into a corner by Qin Guang. In the past he had never placed such a heavy bet and used such fierce news. "After I'm done with this job, I'll get rid of the faded old woman and marry a young and beautiful girl. Zhou Wei, how is it? Just as he was lost in his thoughts, a familiar voice sounded behind him. Zhou Wei suddenly turned around and saw Lu Chao standing behind him with a smile. He was shocked. Why did Boss Lu come at this time? Did I take too much credit from him? At most he would call to ask about 8 weekly. In order to avoid arousing suspicion, he had never had any contact with me in public. This is bad. What if Qin Guang comes later and offers 50 million in front of me? How am I going to make up the difference in the middle? Zhou Wei panicked a little, but he forced himself to calm down. Boss, why are you here? He tried his best to act like he was very surprised. Lu Chao, who knew the inside story, saw his unnatural expression and sneered in his heart. You're still worried that you can't get dirty money? You should be worried about your own life. Later, if Qin Guang wants you dead, you'll die. If he wants you to live, you'll live. I can't protect you. It's nothing. I passed by here and saw you making such a big commotion, so I came to take a look. I'll be leaving in a while. Right, come over here. I have something to ask you. Lu Chao said as he turned around and walked into the small conference room next to him. Zhou Wei was a little confused, but he didn't think too much about it and followed him into the small conference room. In the hall outside, familiar reporters were huddled together, taking advantage of the last bit of time before the press conference to chat with each other. Everyone, to be honest, before I left, I had already handed in the manuscript. So powerful. Old Xia, did you predict the future? Since Qin Guang is attending this press conference, he must have reached an agreement with Zhou Wei. It seems like today's press conference is to clear Qin Guang's name. But we can't be foolishly used. We have to have our own opinions. Guess what I wrote in the headline? What did you write? Buying fame with money, deceiving the world. The swindler Zhou Wei and the big liar Qin Guang worked together to direct the worst drama in history. What do you think? Isn't this headline explosive enough? Impressive, impressive. You're indeed old Xia. I wrote, how much money did Qin Guang give Zhou Wei? Yo, old Ding, you're not bad yourself. Brother Ding, brother Xia, both of you have already written the headlines. Why are you still fighting for the front row today? Give us a chance. We still have to write the follow-up. No matter what, today's news will be the last explosive point. We have to stand guard for the last time. That's right. Actually, I wrote it too. It's about the same as yours. I prepared 2 copies, but I haven't sent them out yet. I feel that with Qin Guang's character, he won't give in so easily. There's going to be a big show today. You mean there's going to be explosive news that you secretly filmed? Of course. We've already defamed Qin Guang for so long. We're not afraid of him doing something bad. It's more exciting to be defamed. That's right. You're really despicable. The new generation excels the old. Thank you for letting me win. Chapter 640. Honestly speaking, all the reporters here had already made up their minds. Regardless of Zhou Wei and Qin Guang's performance, they would still write their reports. They wouldn't lose a single piece of meat. As for the possibility of Qin Guang suing them for defamation, don't joke around. There were at least 200 to 300 media outlets here. Would he be able to sue them all? At the very most, he could just post a small piece of tofu in the corner of his mouth and pretend to apologize. That would be a secondary hot topic. In the eyes of these veteran reporters, Qin Guang wasn't someone they couldn't afford to offend. Especially after the mess he had made this time. As long as they weren't stupid, they would think that the Jin family wouldn't want him as their grandson-in-law. It didn't matter if he cleared his name or not. He couldn't be the emperor's son-in-law anymore. So, before the press conference even started, all kinds of news articles had already surfaced on the internet. They just had to wait for the press conference to come to an end. Then all the reporters could comfortably earn the last bit of attention. Everyone would be happy. No one knew that Zhou Wei was currently kneeling in the conference room with a pale face and a head full of cold sweat. His back was completely drenched in sweat. The cold air from the air conditioner blew on his body, but he couldn't stop the sweat from pouring down his face. This was because there was a black muzzle pointed at his head. The person holding the gun was one of Lu Chao's confidants. Zhou Wei knew this person. He was Boss Lu's #1 fighter. He had been famous in the chaotic era 10 to 20 years ago. Even now, if Lu Chao gave the order, Zhou Wei knew that his head would be blown off with a single shot. Right in front of him, Lu Chao looked at him with an indifferent expression. The door to the small conference room was slowly closed by a young man with his head wrapped in a large hood. Then he lifted the hood. It was Qin Guang. Fatty Zhuo, we meet again. Chen Guang grinned. This time his smile was especially meaningful. Chen Guang. How could it be you? Zhuo Wei's legs trembled uncontrollably. He looked at Chen Guang in confusion, then looked at Lu Chao with a confused expression. Lu Chao was still expressionless. I told you a long time ago that not all money can be earned. You only have yourself to blame for this mess. Zhuo Wei understood what he meant. Lu Chao's simple words made him realize in an instant that he had made the biggest mistake all along. He had underestimated Chen Guang. Chen Guang's influence was greater than he had imagined. Even though he didn't know what methods he used or who was backing him up, Boss Lu had sold him out. My backer, the boss who has been protecting 8 weekly magazines for all these years has sold me out. Zhuo Wei slowly knelt down. Boss, why is this happening? No reason. I'm not interested in explaining it to you. All you need to know is that you almost dragged me into an irrecoverable situation. Lu Chao walked up and slapped Zhuo Wei hard across the face. With a loud slap, Zhuo Wei's head turned away. Lu Chao angrily slapped him, causing blood to flow from his mouth. At this moment, 8 weekly magazines' second-in-command, Zhuo Wei's assistant, Xiao Lu, also walked in. He nodded at Lu Chao. Mr. Lu, everything has been arranged. Lu Chao nodded. Not bad. Xiao Lu, you did well. Zhuo Wei looked at his most trusted assistant with his mouth wide open. In the end, he couldn't control his emotions and roared hysterically, Lu Xiaoyang. You sold me out. Lu Xiaoyang looked at Zhuo Wei sympathetically. Boss, don't you understand? It really wasn't me who sold you out, it was you who sold yourself out. You're so crazy that it's scary. Cut the crap. Take out the USB drive from his pocket and give it to Xiao Qin. Lu Chao kicked him again, causing Zhuo Wei to fall on his back. Lu Xiaoyang's eyes flashed with a trace of pity, but he still bent down and took out the USB drive from Zhuo Wei's pocket. He handed it to Chen Guang, who was beside him. Mr. Chen, the video is in here. This is Zhuo Wei's hard drive. I've already deleted his account, so there's nothing else. Chen Guang took the USB drive and hard drive. Well done. I don't have any other requests. Anyway, you must eliminate all the negative influence on me today. Thank you for your compliment, Mr. Chen. Lu Xiaoyang bowed and left. I won't let you down. Zhuo Wei, who was lying on the ground, looked at the two of them. He felt a little strange, as if he had overlooked something. Lu Chao answered his doubts. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Zhuo Wei. I've already sold 8 weekly magazines to Chen Guang for $1. I sold it to Chen Guang. What? Zhuo Wei thought he had gone deaf. How is that possible? Lu Chao sighed when he saw his subordinate, who used to think highly of him, completely dumbfounded. Isn't this all thanks to you? Zhuo Wei saw a hint of helplessness on Lu Chao's face. He suddenly realized that although 8 weekly magazines was not Boss Lu's main business, it was still complementary to his Lushire culture. The entire magazine also had a lot of real dirt on people in and out of the entertainment industry. In the Chinese entertainment industry, it was like a nuclear weapon. The total market value was definitely more than 100 million. If it wasn't for the fact that he had no other choice, who would be willing to give up so much profit for $1? Although most of the dirt was hidden in his personal computer, and only he knew about it, Zhuo Wei knew without a doubt that he had to hand it all over. And from then on he could forget about using it to make money. Of course, there was a more realistic problem in front of him. Could he survive? Based on Boss Lu's style of doing things, silencing people is his favorite, right? How stupid am I? How overconfident am I to have the guts to stroke Chen Guang's tiger whiskers? How did things become like this today? For a moment his thoughts were wandering. The memory in his mind returned to the morning when Chen Guang held the press conference to announce the establishment of Tianguang Agency. Yes, it started when my precious son Xiao Wei was beaten up by Chen Guang's bodyguards. At that time I angrily brought people to demand an explanation. In the end I didn't get an explanation and Gangzi was also beaten up. Xianxia, the Jiangyuan district branch chief, didn't care about this matter. At that time, although I was angry, I was actually happy. I thought that it was rare to meet such a stubborn celebrity. He had just gotten a large investment from the Tangjie Foundation. Those celebrities who have a way to deal with the media are all old foxes. How can they be so easy to deal with? This is a good opportunity for me to make a fortune. Actually, I made a total of 1 mistake. I didn't understand Qin Guang's true strength. I thought he was just a rash young man, but he really can cover the sky with one hand. I regret it so much. I wish I could do it again. I wouldn't have treated this matter with such an attitude. But there is no medicine for regret in this world, and there is no time machine. Zhou Wei's regret is of no use. Xiaochen, how should we deal with him? Lu Chao quietly walked in front of Qin Guang and asked in a low voice. He made a gesture of cutting his throat. Qin Guang looked at Zhou Wei and hesitated a little. If it was him in the past, he would have sent Zhou Wei to heaven. But was the conflict between him and Zhou Wei really so serious that he had to pay with his life? It didn't seem like it. It was just a scolding, and a scolding. His mistake was unforgivable, but it wasn't a crime worthy of death. The most important thing was that this damn fatty was Teacher Zhu's uncle. Although Teacher Zhu didn't seem to like this relative of his, blood was thicker than water. He was still considered Teacher Zhu's relative. This was an undeniable fact. Xiaochen, I know you're kind-hearted. Otherwise, you don't have to worry about this matter. I'll arrange it properly. Seeing his hesitation, Lu Chao said in a low voice. At this moment, someone knocked on the door of the small conference room. Lu Chao frowned. Who is it? One of his confidants opened the door a little and said in a low voice, Mr. Lu, there are 2 old man's wives wandering around outside just now. Our people caught them. They said they are Zhou Wei's relatives. Relatives? Lu Chao was a little puzzled. Qin Guang understood. It must be Zhou Jingxi's parents who thought that Zhou Wei was going to make a fortune today, so they came to watch the show. These 2 elders were also important sources of information for Zhou Wei. They would definitely get a bonus. Thinking about it was really disappointing. Let them in, Qin Guang ordered. Lu Chao's confidant looked at Lu Chao again. Seeing his boss nod, he turned back and said, Bring them in. As soon as Zhou Jingxi's parents entered, they saw Zhou Wei kneeling on the ground. They then saw the pitch-black gun in Lu Chao's hand and Qin Guang and Lu Chao's cold expression. Completely unaware of the situation, the 2 turned around and were about to leave. They were scared silly. Stop! Lu Chao shouted in a low voice. A group of men in black gathered outside the door and stopped Zhou Jingxi's parents. The 2 elders stiffened and turned around shakily. Seeing how scared they were, Qin Guang couldn't bear to see them like this. He took the initiative to welcome them in and closed the door. He even personally set up chairs for them and poured them a glass of water. He gestured for them to sit down. Greetings, uncle and auntie. I have a small misunderstanding with Zhou Wei. You are Zhou Wei's relatives, right? What are you doing here? Seeing how polite Qin Guang was to Zhou Jingxi's parents, Lu Chao quickly changed his tone. Zhou Jingxi's mother looked at Lu Chao with some fear. She obviously knew Lu Chao. She gulped and said, Greetings, Mr. Lu. Brother. Sister-in-law. Save me. Save me. At this moment, Zhou Wei suddenly rushed over, rolling and crawling on the ground. He hugged Zhou Jingxi's father's leg and cried. Ahem. Lu Chao coughed lightly. Zhou Wei's body trembled and he woke up with a start. Go back and squat over there. I didn't ask you to speak. Lu Chao said fiercely. This was new to him. The last time he acted like a henchman and helped his boss negotiate, it had been 30 years since then, right? It seemed like his skills hadn't regressed. As expected, Zhou Wei didn't dare to cause any more trouble. He obediently shrunk to the side. Zhou Jingxi's mother was also scared out of her wits. She couldn't even hold the glass of water steadily. She trembled for a long time but couldn't say a word. At this moment, Qin Guang's phone rang. He picked it up and saw that it was Zhou Jingxi. Qin Guang sorted out his emotions and answered the phone. Jingxi, what's the matter? On the other end of the phone, Zhou Jingxi seemed to be in low spirits. She looked like she had just cried and her voice sounded a little choked. Qin Guang, I'm in the dormitory now. Zhou Wei's press conference is going to be broadcasted on the internet. I've been watching it. I called my parents just now and found out that he really did take a video of you having sex with a girl on Phoenix Spring Mountain. What should I do? Qin Guang looked at Zhou Wei, who was lying on the ground, and smiled. It's okay. I can handle it. Zhou Jingxi thought about it again and said, I've asked my parents to go to the press conference. No matter what, I won't let Zhou Wei release it. He's my uncle. My dad can help. He'll listen to my parents. I have to try. Qin Guang sighed. When she heard that he had sex with a girl, all she could think of was that she couldn't let Zhou Wei release the video. It's like, actually, you're my first woman. This is the most unfair thing to you, okay? I might have a clear conscience with other people, but with you I've really cheated. He felt a little upset. On the other end, Zhou Jingxi started crying again. I really didn't expect my uncle to be so terrible. He's crazy about money. Actually, it's all my fault. If I hadn't come to America, if I hadn't been unable to satisfy you, you wouldn't have. It's not like that. What's wrong with you? No. It's all my fault. I didn't do my duty as a woman. I also know that I'm not good enough for you. If my parents and uncle hadn't said what they shouldn't, things wouldn't have turned out like this. But I really love you. This was probably the first time in Qin Guang's life that he had heard a woman use such a serious attitude to say that she loved him so much. He couldn't describe how he felt. He just felt that a soft spot deep in his heart had been ruthlessly stabbed by a knife. Hot blood slowly flowed out from his heart and soaked his entire heart. He looked at Zhou Jingxi's panicked and nervous parents again and understood why they were here. Actually, they weren't as bad as he thought. They weren't here to get a share of the money. They were called here by Zhou Jingxi to help him. Qin Guang knew that Zhou Jingxi's parents definitely didn't like him. When Zhou Jingxi was talking to them about this, they might have had a heated argument. Zhou Jingxi's parents should also know that Zhou Wei was someone who cared about money, face and life. But in the end they still came. Jingxi, don't cry. Really don't cry. It's almost 10 o'clock at night over there. Go sit in front of the computer and watch the live broadcast. Then go to sleep peacefully. Nothing will happen. When you wake up tomorrow, everything will be normal. Train your body well. I'll come to America to find you in a few days. Qin Guang said. You probably have a lot of things to do right now. I won't disturb you anymore. Zhou Jingxi hung up the phone reluctantly. Yeah, I just called Jingxi. Thank you. Qin Guang went to Zhou Jingxi's parents again. In the past, everyone had indeed quarreled with each other. But no matter what, they were now on his side. Zhou Jingxi's mother looked at Qin Guang. In her mind, she recalled how Zhou Jingxi had begged them to come. Her emotions were exceptionally complicated. Of course, the two elders knew that Qin Guang's car sex on Phoenix Spring Mountain was real. Their daughter really had a hard life. Zhou Jingxi's father sighed. If Jingxi hadn't said that she would hang herself if we didn't come, I wouldn't have come even if you beat me to death. Now it looks like we came for nothing. Zhou Jingxi's mother was even more aggrieved. Qin Guang, we know that you only treat Jingxi as a little girl. Our family is indeed not good enough for you. But can you treat her better in the future? She really gave her to you completely. Poor parents. Although Zhou Jingxi's father and mother loved money and had previously accepted the fate of Zhou Jingxi being Qin Guang's mistress, seeing that Qin Guang was using his power to completely cover up his affair, and that their daughter could only live in the shadows from now on without a proper status, Zhou Jingxi's mother's nose turned sour. In the end, tears still welled up in her eyes. She regretted it. She already knew that Zhou Jingxi didn't like Shuolong. If she hadn't forced her so hard back then, how could she have attracted the jackal, Qin Guang? Qin Guang smiled and nodded. Don't worry. I'll treat her very well. Then we can rest assured. Zhou Jingxi's father was about to get up. Brother. Zhou Wei shouted again when he saw that Zhou Jingxi's father was about to leave. Zhou Jingxi's father didn't reply. He pulled Zhou Jingxi's mother and continued to leave. Zhou Jingxi's father's eyes were also filled with tears. All right. Don't make it sound like we're going to part forever. Zhou Wei, I don't have the mood to settle the mess you've done in the past. I've already reported it to the police in Wujing. When you get back, you'll have to give a clear explanation. You'll have to go to jail for however many years you deserve. Just based on the fact that you killed that singer Zhen Zhenru over 10 years ago, it's enough for you to go to jail for a few years. I don't want to go to jail. Zhou Wei shouted. Lu Chao kicked him again. Go to jail or die. Which do you choose? On the other hand, Zhou Jingxi's father stiffened when he heard Qin Guang say that he wouldn't kill Zhou Wei. He turned around and bowed deeply. Thank you, Xiaochen. I thank you on behalf of my father and uncle. Qin Guang shook his head. Uncle, you don't have to thank me. If I were as fond of lynching as you are, I wouldn't be any different from Zhou Wei. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. Zhou Wei suddenly came to his senses. He turned to face Qin Guang and hammered his head on the ground. Thank you, Mr. Qin, for sparing my life. Thank you, Mr. Qin. Shut up. If you want to live, it depends on how well you do. Lu Xiaoyang, come in, Lu Chao ordered. Lu Xiaoyang poked his head in from outside. Seeing Zhou Wei's head on the ground bleeding profusely but still kowtowing, Lu Xiaoyang felt his teeth ache. You two have a good discussion about what to do with today's press conference. If it was any less interesting, both of you would be in trouble. Make good use of this opportunity. From now on, Qin Guang will be your boss. Don't miss this opportunity to redeem yourself. Lu Chao waved his hand. On the other side, Qin Guang supported Father Zhou and Mother Zhou as they walked out. Little Qin, if there's nothing else, we'll be leaving first. We'll go back and watch the press conference on TV. Dachuan Satellite TV's Arts channel is going to broadcast it live. Qin Guang nodded. He asked Lu Chao to arrange for someone and a car to send his parents back. They seemed to be in a terrible condition. Standing in front of the window, he watched his parents' car leave the hotel. Then he thought of Zhou Jingxi, who was watching the live broadcast in front of her computer in America. Qin Guang made a decision. He took out his phone, wrote 3 words and sent them to Jin Shuiwei. I'm sorry. Zhou Jingxi had no desires. She wholeheartedly thought and gave everything she had for him. How could he say that he had nothing to do with her on TV? She was infatuated with him. How could he let her down and hurt her? After all, a man had to have some responsibility. It was time to put an end to this Fuma title that was only in name but not in reality. It was a heavy burden on him and Jin Shuiwei. Chapter 641. Far away in Europe, Jin Shuiwei, who was watching the live broadcast with Jiang Yage, felt the phone in her palm vibrate. She turned the phone slightly and picked it up to take a look. It was Qin Guang's name. There was a hint of joy on her face and she looked at Jiang Yage, who was staring at the screen impatiently and anxiously next to her. Why hasn't it started yet? This damn fatty is so annoying. What is he trying to do? Why didn't Grandpa let us take care of it? Otherwise, how could this damn fatty jump around until now? Sister Shuiwei, don't you think so? Jiang Yage tapped the mouse impatiently and asked Jin Shuiwei casually. Jin Shuiwei was a little absent-minded. Don't worry, he definitely has a way. I'm going to the toilet. After that, Jin Shuiwei hid the joy in her heart and quietly ran to the bathroom of the hotel private room. The two of them rushed here yesterday to record a song. But Jin Shuiwei knew that it was very likely that the elders deliberately arranged for her and Jiang Yage to be separated. The things that the old masters wanted to do should be more or less done by now. She just didn't know why Qin Guang sent her a WeChat message at this time. What was he planning to do? But no matter what, at this special time, since the person in his mind was her, it meant that he might be about to accept her as his girlfriend, right? Although this might be a little unfair to Jiang Yage, Jin Shuiwei really couldn't control the joy in her heart until she opened WeChat and saw the 3 words from Qin Guang. I'm sorry. Concise and comprehensive. Everything was said without words. There was no need to say anything more. Jin Shuiwei was smart. She understood everything in an instant. Her body was a little weak and her head was buzzing as if she couldn't even hold the phone. After waiting for a long time, she sat down next to Jiang Yage with a pale face. Sister Shuiwei, what's wrong? Jiang Yage saw her pale face and thought she was not feeling well. Why don't you go to sleep first? Our biological clock hasn't been reversed yet. Jin Shuiwei shook her head. I'm fine. I just bumped my leg in the toilet. It hurts a little. As she spoke, she turned her face away, not daring to face Jiang Yage. Was this retribution? That must be it. Fate must have played a big joke on him. Perhaps she and Solomon had fallen in love with him at the same time. But Solomon was the first one to say it out loud. She had always been like a thief, carefully approaching Qin Guang little by little, and finally pretending to be his girlfriend in public. It seemed like she was selflessly helping him, but in fact she was bullying Solomon for being naive and pure. She couldn't think of her own dirty and selfish thoughts. I almost succeeded and I was even secretly happy just now. Now that I think about it, I've failed to live up to Solomon's trust. Now that I've been rejected by him, it's only natural. I deserve it, right? Jin Shuiwei clenched her hand tighter and tighter, wishing she could dig her nails into her flesh. Sister Shuiwei, why are you crying? Do-san got in. Jin Shuiwei smiled. The press conference is about to begin. Let's see what Zhou Wei is going to say. In the live broadcast, Zhou Wei, who had already calmed down, walked out. He looked a little haggard. Whether it was the live broadcast platform or the live broadcast camera of Dachuan Satellite TV Entertainment Channel, they were all pointed at him. In the huge press conference hall, many media people looked at their former peer who was now sitting on the podium of the press conference, feeling a little jealous. Regardless of whether Qin Guang reached a compromise with him or not, Zhou Wei would be the final winner. Or he could earn a large sum of money in private and then earn a reputation in the industry that could cover the sky with one hand. Who wouldn't be afraid of him in the future? Even Jin Shiyue's boyfriend could be ruined by him. Even the rising #1 internet celebrity in China was convinced by him. Who wouldn't be afraid? If the two of them didn't compromise, he would really fight to the death with Qin Guang. Perhaps he wouldn't be able to get any money from Qin Guang, but it would show the power of the underworld in the entertainment industry. In the future, if others didn't want to repeat Qin Guang's mistakes, they would have to think twice when facing him. Many entertainment reporters were even envious of Zhou Wei. He was a typical example of how bold a person was, how much money he could make. Plus, it's about time. Lu Xiaoyang, who was sitting next to the podium, reminded him in a low voice. He pushed a stack of materials he had already written in front of Zhou Wei. Zhou Wei looked coldly at the young man he had promoted. You already knew about it, right? Comrade Xiao Lu nodded. Yes, Mr. Lu told me last night. I'm sorry. Sai, you don't have to apologize to me. If I encountered such a thing, I would have done more than you did. I deserve it. Actually, I want to be a good reporter. When I was young, I thought so too. Zhou Wei waved his hand and picked up the materials on the table. He switched on the microphone and coughed lightly. Everyone, I will now tell you everything that has happened over the past few days. First, please allow me to express my sincerest apologies to Mr. Qin Guang. What? The countless viewers in front of their televisions and computers were in an uproar. Hey, didn't you say yesterday that there was going to be some juicy news about Qin Guang? What's the point of apologizing? Are you King kidding me? Especially those who had been following the trend of defaming Qin Guang for the past few days. They simply couldn't accept this sentence. These people in front of their televisions and computers roared angrily. For the past few days I haven't eaten, drank, slept, or rested. In order to uphold justice, to expose that shameless Qin Guang, I've turned myself into tap water. I've posted hundreds of thousands of posts on Weibo. I've gone to all the celebrities' Weibo accounts to leave a message saying that Goddess Moonlight has been bullied. F***ck, aren't you and Goddess Moonlight friends? Aren't you best friends? Hurry up and help her. In the end, the first sentence of your **T press conference is to apologize to him? What the F***ck do you think we are? His companion beside him consoled him. Zhou Wei must have taken Qin Guang's money. That's right. Qin Guang bribed him with money. You mean to say that we didn't even live our own lives for the past few days? Instead, we followed along and defamed Zhou Wei on the internet and helped him earn money? Maybe that's the case. F***ck. B****. B****. But it's not completely useless. There were so many reports on the internet and they were all well written. Qin Guang must be a rotten person. There's nothing wrong with boycotting him. That's right, that must be the case. Many of the reporters at the press conference were not as angry as the general public. They were all from the media and knew what kind of people they were. They had already guessed that Zhou Wei would reverse the verdict at the last minute today, and it turned out to be true. Sai, it's really pointless to think about it. I actually believed that Zhou Wei would expose the truth at the press conference. How is that possible? Which one of us in the media isn't greedy for money? As long as you're willing to pay, I can even blow your tap water into bejeweled nectar. What's a little scandal about a celebrity like Qin Guang? Luckily we had a backup plan. Many of the reporters had already lowered their heads and sent text messages to the media companies or marketing accounts behind them that it was about time to publish their articles. The general gist was that Zhou Wei had reversed the verdict at the last minute at the press conference from exposing the truth to a whitewash. But since Qin Guang had already been defamed to this extent, it wasn't something that could be whitewashed just because you wanted to. If you eat the meat, we should at least drink the soup, right? Everyone, don't rush to publish your articles. Why don't you hear me out first? Seeing the people below the stage lowering their heads and fiddling with their phones, how could Zhou Wei not know what they were doing? He hurriedly reminded them. I say, Fatty Zhuo, forget it. You can earn your own money, but don't stop us from writing our reports. You have your own explanation and it's up to us whether we want to listen to it or not. We're not your paid troll army and we have our own judgment as media personnel. You can continue to help Qin Guang clear his name. We'll just listen to it. Everyone knows what's going on. A young reporter sitting in the middle of the conference room rudely stood up from the crowd and questioned Zhou Wei loudly. Perhaps he was in a hurry to become famous and wanted to show off. This young man didn't know any better. Although these were the unspoken rules of the industry, it wasn't giving him face to say it out loud. However, everyone was curious as to how Zhou Wei was going to deal with this young man. Unexpectedly, Zhou Wei didn't look angry at all on the stage. It was as though he had made up his mind. Do you think I accepted Qin Guang's money? To tell you the truth, I didn't accept a single cent. This press conference is my personal confession. Confession? Fatty Zhou, you're really into it. This time, even the veteran entertainment reporters sitting in the front row couldn't hold themselves back. Just how much money did Qin Guang give? Fatty Zhou was willing to throw away his pride to reverse Qin Guang's verdict. Everyone please be quiet. It's not time for questions yet. If you want to cause trouble again, get out. Zhou Wei began to panic when he saw that the situation was getting out of hand. He remembered very clearly that Lu Chao had said that he had to clear Qin Guang's name today. This time the people below the stage finally settled down. Even though they knew what he was going to do next, they still wanted to see how he was going to clear his name. I believe many people in the industry know about my conflict with Qin Guang. Here I would like to apologize to Mr. Qin Guang once again. The people below the stage sneered disdainfully. Alright, you don't have to apologize. It's useless. They all know that you accepted money anyway. At that time during Qin Guang's press conference, I made a very excessive request. I asked him to pay me 2 million RMB as a settlement fee. He righteously rejected me. Zhou Wei didn't care about the expressions of the people below and continued. What? Did we hear wrongly? What the hell? The audience in front of their computers and televisions were also dumbfounded. Although they had thought that Zhou Wei would blackmail Qin Guang into paying, he said it himself. He didn't even try to hide the amount. Wasn't he trying too hard? He was suspected of extortion. But after being rejected by him, I bore a grudge. That night, I sent several employees of 8 Weekly to collude with the local hooligans in Wenxing town to secretly take pictures of Mr. Chen. In the end, they were discovered by the enthusiastic people and called the police. Now the 3 employees of 8 Weekly are still in custody. Many reporters were even more dumbfounded. Whether it was entertainment reporters, legal reporters, or financial reporters, they were all stunned by Zhou Wei's almost self-destructive behavior. Although everyone had guessed these things, this was a live broadcast, a national broadcast. What are you trying to do? How can you say it out loud in front of everyone? Do you still want to work in this industry in the future? Didn't Qin Guang give you 100 million RMB? Do you have to be so desperate? Everyone gradually began to feel that something was wrong. Zhou Wei's performance was beyond imagination. This was completely different from the bleaching process they had guessed. After the first 3 employees were arrested, I bore a grudge and began to arrange for the employees of 8 Weekly to fabricate fake news to maliciously smear Qin Guang online. I maliciously smeared Qin Guang's past achievements out of context and falsely accused Qin Guang of having an inappropriate relationship with his classmates and class counselor. Below is a recording of me instructing my employees to fabricate fake news. Everyone please listen. Re-edit the video of him sharpening his pencil. Deliberately insert a fault in it. Do you hear me? Make the video look fake. Even if it's real, make it look fake. Then write an analysis article for me based on the fake video. What? You don't know how to edit videos? Are you stupid? Don't you know how to use Baidu? Anyway, you just need to make it look real. How many netizens will really understand it? All you need to do is to fool those idiots, do you understand? I'll beat you to death if you spout any more nonsense. Just make up a few high-ranking players from the celestial stairway of Dota. That's right, just pull out a few high-ranking players from the foreign servers and write a proper interview. Say that Qin Guang was actually their substitute for Dota. What, you're saying that Qin Guang's level is too high and no one can substitute him? Are you being stupid with me? Who the F***ck cares how high his level is? If I say it's a substitute, then it's a substitute. Do you understand? I don't need to tell you how to play the piano, right? You know how to do it, right? You said his fingers were completely in sync with the audio track. Can't you cut it at the wrong position? If you say another word of nonsense, I'll pack up and leave. In this recording that lasted more than half an hour, Zhou Wei perfectly demonstrated his professional standards. He was really good at deliberately discrediting and creating fake news. Actually, many people who followed the trend to discredit Qin Guang did not even go to Qin Guang's Weibo and click on his previous videos. They only saw those specious fake analysis and fake technical articles online and thought that they really saw the truth. As the recording was played bit by bit, the netizens in front of their televisions and computers finally realized a rather sad thing. They thought that they were upholding justice, but in fact, it was because they were too stupid and lacked the ability to think independently that they were played by Zhou Wei. The reporters at the press conference were even more terrified than the audience. They were all media personnel and understood Zhou Wei's way of doing things. But how could you say it in front of everyone? You, Zhou Wei, are the famous #1 paparazzi in China. There had never been a media personnel like him, displaying the ugliest side of the media in such a crazy way in front of everyone in a live broadcast. It was as if he wanted to tear off the mask that all media personnel relied on to survive and directly expose the filth and ugliness of this industry to the light. Chapter 642. Crazy. Fatty Zhuo is really crazy. He's going to go to jail. We can't let him continue. Otherwise, what are we going to do in the future? Someone go and shut his mouth. We've already sent out the press release. If he flips the table, we'll be spitting *T out. No. Hurry up and think of a way to shut Zhou Wei up. The reporters below the stage could no longer sit still. Some of the more impatient ones had already stood up from their seats. Everyone, please be quiet. Just then, another person walked out from backstage. Some knowledgeable reporters recognized this person. He was the true underground boss of Dechuan Province, the chairman of the Dechuan Energy Association, and one of the 3 tycoons of Dechuan, Lu Chao. The reporters who had just started a ruckus immediately quieted down. After all, no one dared to provoke this ambitious and ruthless person. The suspicions in everyone's hearts finally dissipated a little. There had always been rumors that Lu Chao was the boss behind Bazhou. Now it seemed that it was most likely true. So this time Lu Chao, this big shot behind the scenes, had also appeared at the press release. Did that mean that Lu Chao was actually on Qin Guang's side? He was here to clean up Qin Guang's mess? Zhou Wei had jumped so hard just now. Was it because the flood had rushed into the temple of the Dragon King? No wonder this guy wanted to explode on the spot. In the end, he had kicked the iron plate of his own backstage. Poor fatty Zhou. Lu Chao only came out briefly to say a few words. Before the cameras turned to him, he quickly retreated. Zhou Wei's story continued. After that, through inciting on the internet, I sent another 5 Bazhou employees to mix in with the general public to cause trouble at Tianguang brokerage's office. After that, these 5 employees were also seized and sent to the police station. They have been detained ever since. After that, I called Qin Guang again and asked him for a strategic partnership fee of 20 million. Yes, that's right. I was extorting money. The amount involved was huge. I, Zhou Wei, am here to surrender myself to the police. Below is the recording of my conversation with Qin Guang. Everyone who had been paying attention to this matter was completely dumbfounded. Too ruthless. Zhou Wei's move was really too ruthless. I've never seen a paparazzi put myself in jail while trying to clear someone's name. Today I've learned something new. The people who had been flaming Qin Guang online were also panicking. It wasn't that they were worried about Qin Guang's revenge. After all, there were hundreds of millions of netizens in the country, and at least tens of millions of them had flamed him before. How could he possibly retaliate against all of them? But if they didn't do anything now, it would be like telling others that they were fools who had been played by Zhou Wei. They were idiots who would be willing to admit that they were stupid. Helping a paparazzi blackmail an upstanding celebrity? Just thinking about it made her feel awkward. Her face was super red, okay? A man lives with his face and a tree lives with its bark. The number of posts that followed the trend and flaming posts that I deleted, that's how much face I earned back, okay? After being rejected by Qin Guang once again, I went berserk and sent all the employees of Octave Weekly in an attempt to follow up on all of Qin Guang's friends and family. Apart from that, I also sent several employees of Octave Weekly to follow up on Qin Guang 24/7, causing great trouble to his life and work. Here I would like to express my sincere apologies to Mr. Qin once again. Last night I tried to negotiate with Qin Guang again. I tried to use the video that I edited to blackmail him and ask him for 40 million in cash as a strategic cooperation fee. Below is the recording of the conversation. Please listen to it. This recording was edited by Lu Xiaoyang. He cut out the content of their conversation that had anything to do with Lu Fei and Zhou Jingxi. It sounded a little awkward, but the meaning remained the same. He was looking for Qin Guang to ask for money. Be it the audience or the media, they were all shocked by this guy's appetite. *CK, your appetite is really big. He only invested 130 million in total, and you King asked for 40 million. You must have been a bandit in your previous life. That's the whole story. It's just like what everyone saw and heard. Mr. Qin is an upright person. It was me who was blinded by greed and pressured him again and again. I embarrassed the media. My slander on the internet and in the media also caused great trouble to Mr. Qin. The impact on society was extremely bad. Apart from that, I invested a total of 489 million to hire fake reviewers to confuse the public. The following companies accepted my employment. Enough, Zhuowei, that's really enough. This time you're trying to uproot everything. You didn't even let off the fake reviewers who took your money to help you. Yes, I fooled the entire country. I know that I'm guilty, but I didn't beg for forgiveness. My actions have already constituted a serious crime. Apart from that, I did many things in the past. The death of the singer Zhen Zhenru in a car accident 15 years ago was also caused by me chasing after a car and secretly taking pictures. Apart from that, 8 years ago, it was me who reported on the kindergarten that the famous movie star Qin Xiaolong's son was studying at. It indirectly led to the kidnapping and murder of Qin Xiaolong's son. 6 years ago, it was also me who secretly took pictures and discovered that the actor Zhang Chenai was gay. After blackmailing him failed, I publicized it on the internet, causing Zhang Chenai to be widely questioned by the public. In the end, Zhang Chenai couldn't bear the burden and chose to commit suicide by jumping off a building. Also, I was the one who took part in all of this, and I managed it all by myself. I will bear all the consequences of breaking the law. The other employees of Octave Weekly were forced to participate in this matter by me. I implore the judicial authorities to give them a lenient sentence on account of their involuntary actions. As a media person, I went against my original intentions. I did anything for money. I ignored the law and did not speak of morality. I was blinded by money. I am a disgrace to all media people. I have caused a terrible impact on society. I have let everyone down. I have let everyone down. As Zhuowei spoke, he started to choke up. Perhaps when he slowly recalled the past, he realized that what he had done in the past was unforgivable. Lu Xiaoyang's nose was a little sour. About an hour ago, this China's #1 paparazzi who created 8 Weekly was still in high spirits. He thought that he was about to reach the peak of his life. However, only a few hours had passed, and he had chosen to reveal everything he had done in the past in front of the entire nation. How tragic, how desolate. What he said did not seem to constitute a serious crime in the eyes of the law. But the result was one tragedy after another. Who could be blamed for Zhuowei ending up like this? Moreover, even if all the crimes he listed were true, he would only be sentenced to 10 years at most. What about the people who indirectly died because of him? Who would sympathize with these people? He did not kill them, but they still died because of him. Xiaolu, don't learn from me. You are not even 30 yet. You still have a lot of time. You must be a person who can live up to your conscience. Zhuowei threw the documents in front of him away and burst into tears. Boss. Lu Xiaoyang's heart was sour. He thought that he was only treating Zhuowei as a joke. But now that he saw Zhuowei shouldering everything, he was filled with mixed feelings. Zhuowei and Lu Xiaoyang were not the only ones in an awkward situation. The reporters who were hurriedly asking their departments to withdraw their articles recalled how they had followed the trend online. They were afraid that Qin Guang would settle the score with them. Without a reason, Zhuowei wouldn't have been as remorseful as he pretended to be. The so-called justice could only be defended by force. Zhuowei's decisiveness could only mean that the power behind Qin Guang was so strong that he could not even think of resisting. Even Zhuowei's backer Lu Chao chose to sacrifice himself to protect the king. No one wanted to repeat the same mistake. All the previous scandals had to be withdrawn. None of the prepared articles could be used. They had to seize this last opportunity to choose a side and help Qin Guang clear his name. Those who followed the trend and watched the incident with the mentality of watching a joke felt that they had lost a lot of face. They thought they were moral guardians, but in the end they were just monkeys who were played around. Thinking about it made them feel embarrassed. Of course, the most embarrassed were the economists and celebrities who followed the trend and slandered Qin Guang. The press conference was not over yet, but these people's Weibo posts were already scolding them one after another. I thought you were a learned person. In the end, you also followed the trend without any real evidence. You are in cahoots with that big corrupt official Su Lijing, right? You are taking revenge for Su Lijing, right? Sanctimonious and hypocritical. You and Su Lijing are classmates. You must be a greedy old man. How can you be a university principal like this? Do you dare to announce your assets? These words made these so-called old scholars' faces turn black. However, these netizens were right this time. When they stepped on Qin Guang's head, they indeed wanted to take revenge for Su Lijing and vent their anger. How could they have imagined that Qin Guang could still overturn the case after the incident had reached this stage? As for celebrities like Zhang Tianming and Li Longwei, their Weibo posts were even more lively. I knew you were a dishonest and hypocritical person. Indeed, it's like this. Best actor? You're simply a scum. You Li Longwei want to woo goddess Shiyue? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? First, explain to the girl you dumped. She sold herself in order to help you enter the entertainment industry. Now that you're famous, you dumped her. How can you face her? That's right. You still have the face to slander Qin Guang for cheating? What's wrong with your heart? How can you be so thick-skinned? The ones who suffered the most were Zhang Tianming and Li Longwei. The other celebrities who followed the trend didn't receive as much attention. They all quickly deleted their Weibo posts to distance themselves from them. As for The Economist and Zhang Tianming, deleting their posts didn't work. They simply closed their Weibo comments. Out of sight, out of mind. However, this was actually useless. Since they couldn't flame you on Weibo, they could go to other people's Weibo to flame you. The effect was the same. The ones who rushed to the front were, of course, the die-hard fans who had always chosen to believe in Qin Guang. Following closely behind were the trolls who realized they had been fooled. When they were slandering Qin Guang, they happily slandered Qin Guang. Now that Qin Guang had been whitewashed, they also rushed to slander others. Anyway, as long as there was someone to slander, it didn't matter even if the sky fell. As for Qin Guang's own Weibo, there were all sorts of comments like, I owe you an apology, and, I'm sorry. Although this was useless, Qin Guang actually didn't care about the trolls under his Weibo. He also didn't care about these people's superficial apologies. He was just annoyed that the private messages from the trolls were blocking his intimate communication with his female fans. When Zhou Wei was almost done with his performance, Qin Guang walked out from the backstage. Zhou Wei didn't think much when he saw him. He immediately bent down and began to kowtow fiercely again and again. There was already a wound on his head from the collision earlier, and this time the wound opened up again after just a few hits. Alright, stop kowtowing. Otherwise, if you kowtow to death here, others will think that I forced you. Qin Guang grabbed the back of Zhou Wei's collar and pulled him up. Zhou Wei wiped away his tears and the blood on his forehead. He picked up the microphone on the podium and said, Everyone, I'm going to turn myself in now. I'll clarify once again that Qin Guang didn't have any scandalous videos. His counselor is actually my niece. Everything was fabricated by me. Actually, he has nothing to do with my niece Zhu Jingxi. However, Qin Guang interrupted Zhou Wei's words. Shut up. Get down. Zhou Wei's face stiffened. He didn't know what Hu Jinyao was going to do, but he knew what was good for him. He immediately shrunk his neck and left dejectedly. Xianxia, who had just arrived under Wu Shan's orders, waved his hand and 2 police officers followed him up. Under the gaze of the live broadcast camera and hundreds of eyes in the venue, Zhou Wei's hands were shackled and taken away. Sis, I told you that investing in him was the right thing to do, right? Didn't he settle the matter just like that? Tang Xiaokai, who was waiting in front of the computer, beamed at the scene. My money didn't go down the drain, did it? Tang Ying didn't care about Tang Xiaokai's words. She pinched her fingers and counted the time. 3 days. Just 3 days. This guy, don't be so precise with your timing. This is so King embarrassing. Shut up. Help me book a plane ticket. I want to come to America. But forget it, I was just joking. I still have a lot of things to do at the hospital. I can't leave. Sis, why do I feel like you don't look very happy? You look a little melancholic. Shut up. Bye. Tang Ying hung up the phone abruptly. Her face was as red as blood. At this time, Sun Xiaoxuan, who was also in America, turned off the live broadcast and went to sleep. Zhou Jingxi, on the other hand, felt a little complicated. He stared straight at the video. It was the scene of Zhou Wei being handcuffed. However, in her mind she kept thinking about what Zhou Wei had said before. Actually, there's nothing between him and my niece Zhou Jingxi. Although she didn't want to admit it, although she had already accepted her fate, when Qin Guang really wanted to clarify their relationship in front of everyone, Zhou Jingxi couldn't hide her true thoughts from the depths of her heart. A slight sourness and a slight stab of pain. It wasn't intense, but it was endless. Perhaps when she accepted the car he gave her and when she accepted his money before she came to America, this fate was destined. She silently touched her face. It was cold. It turned out that tears had unknowingly flowed out again. Forget it. I shouldn't have asked for more. He's so outstanding and he treats me well enough. It's fine as it is now. As long as I don't cause him any trouble, it's fine as long as he's happy. And then again, I don't seem to be able to satisfy him in that aspect, right? Didn't he say that he wanted me to train my body because I'm a pitiful 3-second girl? It really was only 3 seconds. Thinking of that, Zhou Jingxi grinned again. It seemed like she was mocking herself, but it was also a little heartwarming. Whether it's in terms of status or body, I don't have the right to have him all to myself, right? She stood up and was about to turn off the live broadcast. However, Qin Guang seemed to have something else to say. In the camera, he stood in front of the rostrum again and gently picked up the microphone. His expression was very determined. Chapter 643. Everyone, I believe Zhou Wei has already explained everything that needs to be explained. As long as you aren't blind, you should be clear about the truth, right? Qin Guang spoke into the microphone, enunciating every word. In the hall of the press conference, the reporters below the stage all let out a long sigh of relief. Forget it, this matter was finally coming to an end. For such a big show to come to an end like this, it could be considered as a relief for everyone. However, they had to think of a way to repair their relationship with Qin Guang after this. Needless to say, he was definitely a person who held a grudge. Sigh, why didn't anyone think of standing on his side and speak up for him? Otherwise, this would have been such a good opportunity. They could keep up with the hot topics, be a controversial topic, and be the last one to laugh. Sigh, why isn't there a single sober person here? This guy's words aren't pleasant to hear. What does he mean by as long as we aren't blind? Can't you see that our eyes are all bright? Of course, although many people were unhappy, no one dared to stand out and say anything. After all, Qin Guang had just sent Zhou Wei to prison. He seemed exceptionally, insufferably arrogant, and no one was willing to remove his bad luck at this time. Of course, among the people present, there was one person who was so proud that he was about to fly. It was the director of Dachuan Satellite TV. When everyone was questioning Qin Guang and following the trend to slander Qin Guang, this director remembered the kindness that Qin Guang had done for him when he held the throne challenge. He stood on Qin Guang's side without any hesitation and used the resources of the entire Dachuan Satellite TV to help him clarify and absolve him. Although it was only a drop in the bucket, it was sincere. At this time he could be considered the person who stood the straightest among everyone present. Mr. Qin, is this the end of the press conference? The director moved closer with a smile. Qin Guang cupped his hands at the director and smiled. Then he turned his head to look at the center of the huge hall. Below the press conference, there were hundreds of eyes staring at him. They were waiting for me to announce the end of this farcical press conference. Then they would run away with their tails tucked between their legs. Zhou Wei's pitiful state at the press conference would definitely make them feel the same way, even though they were Zhou Wei's colleagues. Zhou Wei's self-destruction on the spot exposed the filthiest and ugliest side of their entire industry to everyone's eyes. They couldn't wait to be freed, leave this place, and go to their respective units to issue so-called apologies, so-called clarifications, and clarify their involvement in the whole matter. Then, like scavenging hyenas, they would continue to hide in the dark, waiting for the next hot news. After smelling the smell of hot news, they would stick out their tongues, bare their fangs, drip their saliva, and fiercely pounce out, rubbing off pieces of bloody flesh from these hot news. The fear in their eyes was only because Qin Guang had just torn apart one of their top peers. However, the dissatisfaction and resentment in their eyes couldn't escape the eyes of Qin Guang, the world's best actor. Do you think this press conference is over? Sorry, not yet. There are some words that I have to say. It seems like someone is dissatisfied with what I said. You think I'm too arrogant? You think you have a pair of spirited eyes? Why should I say you're blind? Qin Guang suddenly grinned and his smile was exceptionally cold. Then let me tell you why I said you're blind. Yu Hong, give me the name list. Qin Guang waved his hand and Yu Hong, who had been waiting at the side, handed over a thick stack of paper. These few days the newly established Tianguang agency was powerless in the face of public opinion. With the situation like this, it wasn't something that could be won with money. There were too many media outlets that followed Zhou Wei's lead. Spreading rumors naturally attracted more attention than clarifying someone's name. Moreover, everyone thought that Qin Guang was powerless, and there was no benefit in helping him redress his grievances. The entire public opinion wasn't just the opinions of the 8 weekly magazines, but the entire social media that followed and attacked him. It was unrealistic for a newly established company like Tianguang Agency to go against the entire media and public opinion. Therefore, Qin Guang decided to change his strategy. He stopped letting Tianguang Agency try to clear his name, and instead focused on gathering a list of all the media outlets and related personnel that followed the trend to slander him. Now this was the name list in Qin Guang's hands. The audience was in an uproar. They weren't stupid and they could guess what name list Qin Guang had in his hands. They only thought that this guy was crazy. They thought that Zhou Wei's self-destruction was crazy enough, but now they realized that Qin Guang was even crazier. Although you won today, can you stop before going too far? Shouldn't you know when to stop? What's the point of making a list of all of us? Do you really want to fight the world alone? What I'm going to say next might be a little harsh. If you don't want to listen and want to leave, you can leave now. Qin Guang waved his hand. His expression was cold, but he was laughing coldly in his heart. Damn it, I've been like a turtle hiding in its shell for the past few days, and I've been scolding all of you. If I don't get back at them today, when will I get back at them? If I were to swallow this anger, would I still be me? What Taiji fist? What building a good relationship with the media? What public relations? What bullsh *t? I only know that whoever makes me unhappy, I'll make them unhappy. There are some words that I can't hold back and I have to say them. If anyone has any objections, that's not a problem. We'll settle the score here and I'll settle it for you later. In the end, no one stood up and left. At this point, even if they knew that he was going to scold them and the media, they couldn't bear to leave. Even if they were scolded by him, wouldn't it still be a hot topic? Wouldn't they still get clicks and attention? No one wants to leave. Then I'm going to say it openly. That's right, I think you're all blind. It's not your eyes that are blind, it's your hearts that are blind. You have a pair of good eyes, but your hearts are blinded by lard. Qin Guang slammed the table and shouted. Qin Guang, don't go too far. A young reporter couldn't sit still any longer. He stood up and retorted angrily. Go too far. How am I going too far? Qin Guang looked at him. The matter is already over. At most, we'll write a clarification report for you later. What right do you have to be so unforgiving? This young reporter was clearly someone with a temper. Qin Guang rubbed his chin with his finger. That's strange. You can't be unforgiving when you're in the right. Then wouldn't you have hung yourself because you were in the wrong? Why, after splashing dirty water on me and wiping it off with a handkerchief, you think I don't stink anymore? Are you the fool or am I the fool? Or do you think everyone else is a fool? Let's put it this way. If 10,000 people saw the things you defamed me, can you guarantee that 10,000 people will see the clarification report? Are you lying through your teeth? How can you be so shameless? You openly made use of me and used me to attract attention. Now that you know you're in the wrong, you won't let others speak up? As the victim, how can I not say that you're in the wrong? Are you the king of heaven or something? How can you be so capable? Young man, shut up. I know you're from East Entertainment Weekly. Don't worry, my lawyer's letter will only reach your company in 2 days. Don't panic. The moment Qin Guang said that, the audience was in an uproar. Looked like this guy was really going to settle the score. East Entertainment was not a big company. If he also sent a lawyer's letter, then the others would not be any better. In front of the computer, Jiang Yage also widened her eyes in disbelief. Is our Guang crazy? There's no need to do this. Even if it's just the two of us, We can't offend all the media people. Jean Shuiwei seemed a little distracted. Sister Shuiwei? What's wrong? No, nothing. Jiang Yage called out to Jean Shuiwei before she came back to her senses. Jean Shuiwei thought for a long time before she came to her senses. His personality is just like that. He can't stand being wronged. He must have been holding it in for the past few days. But these media people should be taught a lesson. Thinking about it, it's quite hateful. The young man from East Entertainment Weekly froze in front of the camera. His face turned pale and he sat down. His mind was buzzing. It's over. I'll definitely be beaten to death by the chief editor when I get back. What? Are you really wronged? Why are you feeling wronged? I have 2 lists in my hands. The thicker one is the list of all the media who participated in or took the initiative to defame me in the past few days. The thinner one is the list of the companies who were invited today. I took a look just now. At least 80% of the people sitting here have maliciously slandered and defamed me. Zhou Wei has already made it very clear what the facts are. I'm not slandering anyone when I say you're blind. You're all in the same industry as Zhou Wei. How can you not know what kind of person he is? Just look at the fake scandals he created. Any random person in the media can go to my Weibo and verify it. You should know how he faked it. Do you really not understand? No, you all understand. But you all are just pretending to be ignorant. As long as you can make money, as long as you can attract attention, you don't care about the authenticity of the news. You also don't care if it will affect me. You think the law doesn't punish the masses. You think that since everyone is following the trend, why can't I? You also think that you are the media and that you are very powerful. We have to rely on you to make a living. We have to beg and be afraid of you. You think that I can't afford to offend you. You think that it doesn't matter what happens. At most, you can just release an apology from a small tofu block and I won't pursue this matter anymore. And those academics. Qin Guang pointed at the camera. I know you are watching. Professor Ma, Professor Lu, Professor Ding, Professor Xie. What? Did Su Lijing's execution make you all unhappy with me? Don't talk to me about the economic principles of being an internet celebrity. You can use that nonsense to fool children. You just don't like me. You want to avenge your classmate, schoolmate, good friend and accomplice Su Lijing. And Zhang Tianming, Li Longwei and the rest of you. You are all experienced in the entertainment industry. You all know what this lousy industry is like. But you all are pretending to be ignorant. You think that I'm inexperienced, that I'm just a lousy internet celebrity, and you think that I can climb all over you? I really don't understand how other celebrities conduct themselves. I really can't learn to play Tai Chi with others. Today I'll flip the table with you all. Qin Guang slammed the table. I'll say it now. All of you, get ready to receive my lawyer's letter. I'll use 130 million to slowly play with you all. Even after this money is gone, I still have a second and a third 130 million. Otherwise, all of you will apologize to me properly until I'm satisfied. I don't even know when and to what extent I will be satisfied. I Qin Guang am just that stingy. If you don't believe me, you can try me. As he threw out such a powerful sentence, the huge venue suddenly fell silent. Whether it was the reporters from the major media outlets in the venue or the people who were watching the event from the TV and computers, all of them sucked in a breath of cold air. This guy was really a lunatic. He was a lunatic who would tear you apart the moment you touched him. East Entertainment Weekly headquarters. Bang. The managing editor, who was watching the live broadcast from the conference room, slammed the table heavily. This Qin Guang has gone too far. But in less than 2 seconds he slumped down again. Forget it. Issue a statement. Put it on the front page of the newspaper, put it on the top of the website, and put it on the top of our Weibo account. Apologize to him. Apologize until he's satisfied. Fire that brat who spoke nonsense at the meeting. Make him pack up and scram. It wasn't just East Entertainment. The other media outlets that were involved in the incident had similar reactions. Although the media outlets boasted that they had nothing to lose, they couldn't stand up to Qin Guang's imposing manner. It was as if he was willing to be cut into pieces and drag the emperor down from his horse. Who the hell would want to go to court with a guy who had hundreds of millions in assets and a powerful background? Reason, he was in the right. Money, he was also very rich. Power, didn't you see Zhou Wei, who had Lu Chao's backing, kneeling on the ground? Although we have the advantage in numbers, what if the others take us down one by one? Who would want to be the first to stand out? You guys can be awesome, I'll be the first to back down. Although this matter was rather shameful and embarrassing, a wise man knew better than to fight when the odds were against him. It wasn't worth it to fight to the death with a lunatic. If I had known that this guy was so narrow-minded, I would have thought about this matter from the start. However, Qin Guang wasn't done with his bombshell today. After he was done, his face suddenly changed and he continued, "Naturally, there are some things that you guys aren't completely wrong. There's one thing that you guys are right about. Zhou Wei wasn't wrong either." The smile on Qin Guang's face became very strange with a sense of relief. Jin Shiyue's heart inexplicably tightened. Zhou Jingxi, who was separated by the ocean, cried out in alarm. She subconsciously shouted, "No. Don't do this." But of course, Qin Guang couldn't hear her soft cry. Qin Guang looked straight up at the camera. His gaze seemed to cross the ocean and shoot into Zhou Jingxi's eyes. He slowly opened his mouth and his words were filled with deep emotion. "Zhou Jingxi and I, who was my former counselor, aren't completely unrelated like what Zhou Wei said." A reporter who was taking a sip of water spat the water at the back of the head of the person in front of him. Chapter 644. However, the person who was sprayed all over did not have the mood to turn around and scold him. Instead, he looked at Qin Guang on the stage with his mouth wide open and muttered, "After all this time, you've been acting cool for so long and in the end you're going to blow yourself up too. What day is it today? Is it trendy to blow yourself up?" Breaking news, shocking breaking news. Jin Shiyue's boyfriend had publicly admitted to having a relationship with another woman. There was a sudden clap of thunder on the ground. Were you going to blow up the heavens and earth? Even if Zhou Wei said these words 10,000 times, it wouldn't be as fierce and intense as you saying it yourself, alright? At that moment, many of the reporters only felt that, based on how awesome this guy was today, they would obediently give him their heads off, not to mention scolding him to death. Thinking about other celebrities, even if they were truly in love, wouldn't they refuse to admit it even if they were beaten to death and were beaten to death, let alone cheating and cheating? Perhaps they finally couldn't hide it anymore, or perhaps they were waiting until they were about to get married so they hid it and said, "We," to announce it to the world. What's more, their children were about to graduate from primary school, but they were still single and unmarried. Looking at our Pokemon Qin Guang from the way he had behaved at the beginning of the day, whether it was making Zhou Wei blow himself up on the spot in front of a live broadcast, slapping the reporters' faces, or suddenly throwing out shocking news. Really, this person's train of thought was completely different from normal celebrities. He didn't play by the rules and he didn't have any. He was like a mudslide in the entertainment industry. As reporters, we don't admire many people, but bro, your style is really different from everyone we've seen. Looking at Qin Guang's incomparably solemn and serious expression, whether it was the reporters present or the audience in front of their televisions, this was the only thought that popped up in their minds. Cheating on someone in such a fresh and refined manner, there really wasn't a second person in history. Qin Guang could totally guess what these people were thinking, but he didn't mind. In his heart, he only silently thought that if he completely erased this matter today, he would not be able to face his own conscience. It wasn't difficult to cover things up. All he had to do was follow Zhou Wei's words and lie in front of the audience and reporters. He had to use his world-class acting skills to tell them that he had nothing to do with Zhou Jingxi. Then he pretended to shout, "I have a very good relationship with Jin Shiyue, thank you for your concern," and so on. This matter was completely over. It was very simple for him to do all of this. Even if he didn't do anything now, it would be enough. After all, after such an incident, no news media would dare to pry into his private life in the future. Even if they discovered something or captured something, they would have to carefully consider whether they had the courage and guts to self-destruct on the spot like Zhou Wei. After all, this guy held grudges beyond imagination. Then the sun would rise as usual tomorrow, and Qin Guang's identity as Jin Shiyue's boyfriend would continue. Zhou Jingxi, who really had that relationship with him, could only hide in the dark and continue living her life as a thief without identity or status. Even if she said that she didn't care, that this was her fate, that she had to bear with it, that she used a carefree smile to hide the sadness and pain in her heart, it was all meaningless. The human heart couldn't be lied to. Qin Guang always said that others pretended to be ignorant, but in fact wasn't he the same? How could he not understand Zhou Jingxi's thoughts? So this seemingly simple lie, he couldn't do it. There was clearly something going on between him and Zhou Jingxi, and there was clearly nothing between him and Jin Shuiwei. But now he had to say that Zhou Jingxi was someone who had nothing to do with him. He really couldn't do it. He could imagine how depressed and self-abased Zhou Jingxi must have felt while watching the live broadcast. Then when she turned around, she would have to force a smile to comfort herself. If he really did as Zhou Wei said and cut off all ties without any psychological burden, then he wouldn't be a man. Perhaps some people would think that Qin Guang was stupid. But Qin Guang didn't care. In the world, he only had to live up to his own conscience. I've already done it, so I have to take responsibility as a man. Yes. I like Zhou Jingxi. I care about her a lot. I'm currently pursuing her. Swallowing his saliva, Qin Guang said in a heavy tone. This was the most suitable way he came up with after careful consideration. It could not only give Zhou Jingxi, who was far away, a reasonable status, but also not let her get caught up in too much public opinion. After all, she used to be his teacher and his current identity was special enough. Zhou Jingxi was a girl after all. If a man publicly said that he had sex with her, even though it was true, it would still cause great damage to her reputation. Maybe in the future she would get tired of being his mistress and want to seek a more comfortable life. Therefore he would shoulder all the problems on his own shoulders. This was good, all the problems were his own problems. Of course, Zhou Jingxi didn't do anything wrong. A woman being one-sidedly loved by another man, what did she do wrong? Mr. Qin, is what you said true? Have you carefully considered what you said? After all, this fact is a bit. At this time, a veteran reporter who was sitting quite close to the front stood up. When he asked the question, he desperately winked at Qin Guang, perhaps reminding Qin Guang to restrain himself and quickly think of a way to cover up what he just said. Qin Guang interrupted him. I have carefully considered it, and I am responsible for my own words and actions. But not everyone was so kind after all. Everyone wanted to make a big news. Mr. Qin, may I ask why you like Zhou Jingxi? According to the previous reports, although Zhou Jingxi is indeed beautiful, she is just an ordinary woman. Compared to Jin Shuiwei. Qin Guang asked him in return, do you have to find a reason to like someone? Brother, looking at your age, haven't you been in a relationship before? Are you in an arranged marriage? Mr. Qin, did you communicate with Jin Shuiwei beforehand when you announced this publicly? Have you thought about the impact this will have? Qin Guang answered, I told Jin Shuiwei beforehand and I know what impact it will have, but Jin Shuiwei is also innocent in this matter. I will give everyone a more detailed explanation later. Quiet, everyone, be quiet. Qin Guang. Although I am a reporter, I have always been a loyal fan of the left and right-hand man. Your behavior is shameless. Despicable. Despicable. Even if you send me a lawyer's letter, I can't take it anymore. I won't do it anymore. I just can't stand you. I'm going to get justice for my goddess. A young man lost control of his emotions. He looked like a real fan, but before he could rush to Qin Guang's side, he was pressed to the ground by the bodyguards sent by Lu Chao. Qin Guang wasn't angry. This person had lost control of his emotions, but his intentions were good. Zhou Jingxi, who was in front of the computer, also lost control of her emotions. She couldn't say how proud she was, but there was an inexplicable warmth that suddenly emerged from the depths of her heart. Without warning, it filled her entire heart. She never dreamed that Qin Guang would go this far. She even felt that she wasn't worthy. But what was done was done. Qin Guang had already said it and it was impossible to take it back. Zhou Jingxi even felt that if she were in Qin Guang's shoes, she wouldn't have said it on such an occasion. But he still did it. He knew what the consequences would be, but he still did it. Even though they were separated by a computer screen and a long network cable, Zhou Jingxi could read his heart through his eyes. I just don't want you to feel wronged, that's all. This time she cried like a pear blossom in the rain, but there was no sadness. Other than being touched and grateful, there was nothing else. Alright, behave yourself. I haven't finished speaking. What are you guys rushing for? On the screen, Qin Guang was facing the public's criticism, but his expression didn't change. He was still very calm. Next, I'm going to say something else, and it's also very important. First of all, I'd like to apologize on behalf of Jin Shuiwei and myself. We're sorry we lied to you, we lied to all of you. What's going on? What the hell? You're not done? Bro, why don't you just write a long article and say it all in one go? You're torturing me with your big breaths. Now that you've admitted that you cheated, let's see how you're going to clear your name. Whatever you say, you're a heartless man anyway. Whether it was the reporters or the audience, they couldn't understand how Qin Guang was going to clear his name. The development of the whole matter had completely exceeded their expectations. But Jiang Yage understood the moment she heard it. Her mouth opened wider and wider as she pointed at Qin Guang on the computer screen. After a while she reacted. I feel that something is wrong with you, Sister Shuiwei. Is this guy planning to distance himself from you at the press conference? Jean Shuiwei narrowed her eyes fiercely. It's like this and it's about time. What time is this? What time is this? How can he be like this? Isn't this making things difficult for me? How am I going to look for him in the future? Jiang Yage was anxious. She subconsciously wanted to pick up her phone and call Qin Guang. She wanted to use the matter of Qin Yu to force him to give in. But looking at Qin Guang's firm expression on the screen, Jiang Yage finally couldn't muster up the courage. Instead she shrank back into her chair. Her face was full of confusion and panic. She didn't know what to say. Finally, after a short uproar, Qin Guang made a gesture of pressing his hand down. The venue gradually quieted down. He slowly said, I think many people know about my lawsuit with Gokyo University's vice president, the leading figure in the domestic economics field, Su Lijing. This time there were also many old scholars who jumped out to say that I was wrong. This matter started because of this. Then Qin Guang used concise words to roughly describe the situation he was in when he and Su Lijing were at the peak of the dispute. It was also at this time that Jean Shuiwei took the initiative to let him pretend to be her boyfriend. She used her social connections to make Su Lijing fearful, so that he could be safe after losing the lawsuit. So actually, Jean Shuiwei and Jiang Yage are very close friends. It's also because we are of different genders. Otherwise it would be correct to say that we are best buddies or sisters. We talk about everything and they have helped me a lot. This matter has indeed caused a very bad impact on Jean Shuiwei. I personally apologize here, and I also apologize to all of Jean Shuiwei's fans for causing you trouble. But she and I are completely innocent. Pretending to be a couple? Didn't the two of you kiss before the Beijing concert? The reporter who was Jean Shuiwei's fan was still pinned to the ground, and he straightened his neck and asked. Qin Guang, on the other hand, blushed. I'm even more sorry, but we are really not lovers. Jean Shuiwei will probably release a statement to clarify in a while. This matter will end here, okay? This guy actually cried tears of joy. I knew it. I knew that Goddess Jean would not be so easily wooed away by someone. This guy was crazy with joy. Not only him but Jean Shuiwei's fans in front of their televisions and computers also heaved a long sigh of relief. The truth of the matter was actually like this. This was really a twist and turn of events and a glimmer of hope at the end of the tunnel. As expected of the idol that he had liked for so many years. She was really loyal to her buddies and she was really honest. It was really rare to see someone like her helping others to such an extent. She was the most honest beauty in the entertainment industry, alright? China's best friend, and China's best friend were all referring to Jean Shuiwei. Even when the two of them announced their relationship back then, some of the fans who had turned from fans to haters and fans to passersby had changed their minds. Celebrity love made people jealous and disgusted, but this kind of courage to sacrifice for a brother was a true friendship in this materialistic society. It was definitely a magic weapon to attract fans. Of course, not everyone was only happy for Jean Shuiwei. Some felt that Goddess Shuiwei had sacrificed too much. After all, she was a female artist at her age. Although it had been 10 years since her debut, she was only 20 years old. She had always had an image of a pure and innocent girl. Her love affair this time would definitely have a far-reaching impact on her image as an idol. However, there were also people who said that it was the goddess's own decision. Didn't everyone like Goddess Jean because of her honest character, which was soft on the outside but hard on the inside? If they did not become a fan of such a person, who else would they be a fan of? Qin Guang's fans, on the other hand, were not very happy. After all, they used to be quite proud that their idol was their goddess's boyfriend. Now that they heard him say it himself, they were still a little disappointed. However, these die-hard fans of Qin Guang quickly adjusted their emotions. Our brother all-rounder was not a useless person. Our brother all-rounder was the best at everything he did. He could become famous without relying on women, alright? Our brother all-rounder was not like those hyped-up internet celebrities. They relied on their own abilities to become famous. The reporters in the venue were a little stunned. When Qin Guang mentioned Su Lijing's matter, everyone present was from the media. They had followed this hot topic in the past. When the old matter was brought up again, they immediately recalled it and were speechless. Not only was Qin Guang an honest boy, but his right-hand man was also similar to him. Indeed, they were not from the same family. Chapter 645. Then today's press conference has come to an end. Thank you for your support. Yes, on behalf of Zhou Wei, I would also like to thank everyone. After all, he was the one who sent the invitation letter. Oh right, please remember to receive the lawyer's letter when you go back. If possible, I don't want the lawyer's letter to become a court subpoena. Everyone's report must be factual. Qin Guang blinked, turned around and left. He had finally said it out in front of everyone. He felt light and carefree. Even when he walked, he felt as if he was walking on air. Did men care about their pride? There was no such thing. Who would be willing to carry the reputation of relying on a woman all day long? Seriously, this guy didn't even forget to threaten us before he left. A reporter in the press conference hall muttered softly. His colleague beside him asked in return, "You're not convinced? Continue to fight him head-on?" The reporter who complained earlier shook his head like a rattle drum. "I didn't take the wrong medicine." "Think so too. You don't look like you're crazy." Forget it, he was in the right to begin with. Now that the matter of cheating had been explained clearly, he and Jean Shiyue were only friends, so cheating wasn't valid at all. But to be honest, I quite admire him. If it were me, even if it was a fake couple, I would still continue acting. It's not hard to find beautiful women, but Jean Shiyue is a goddess. That's why Qin Guang is Qin Guang after all. You're just a lousy writer. That's true. He's so carefree. I really can't be envious. As the live broadcast signal was cut, the audience in front of their computers and televisions finally finished watching the drama. The aftermath of the incident was not over yet. It was still slowly brewing. But without a doubt, as time passed, the various media outlets would issue clarifications and apologies one after another. The negative impact that Zhou Wei single-handedly directed on Qin Guang would gradually fade away. Perhaps a long time later, the unscrupulous marketing accounts would make a fuss about it again. But it would not be able to stir up any big waves. Of course, those who wanted to continue consuming Qin Guang had to carefully weigh their own capabilities and think clearly about whether they could withstand his revenge. After all, he was so narrow-minded that he made a list of all the people and companies that followed him to defame him. He even threatened to send a lawyer's letter to them one by one. Moreover, he was not afraid of the new generation of impoverished celebrities who stubbornly resisted him. He was really a clean stream in the modern information society. This fellow was simply poisonous. He was like a dog skin plaster that was rude and unreasonable to the extreme. Some people were happy, some people were worried, and naturally some people were worried. The same thing in the eyes and ears of different people would have different feelings. Some were scared, some were touched, some were sad, and some were furious. Far away in a villa in Yanjin, old man Jean slammed the table with a livid face. Nonsense. What nonsense? How could such a thing be falsified? How could this be a joke? Are you trying to throw away this old face of mine? Old Jiang next to him covered his mouth and chuckled. He liked to see his old buddy fuming. Old Jean, your son-in-law is going to fly away. But I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Even you, old Jiang, are laughing at me. Old man Jean suddenly clutched his chest and couldn't stand still. The other old men panicked. Old Jean, don't scare me. Old Jiang was the first to rush to old man Jin's side. He took out a calming pill from his pocket and fed it to old man Jean. He didn't have this problem himself. The medicine he had on him was for old man Jean. Old man Jin's face turned red after he took the medicine. Didn't this Chin kid say that he is still chasing that Shua something? Shua Jingxi. Old Jiang reminded him. That's right. He has a one-sided crush and she didn't even say yes. Why should my granddaughter admit defeat? Shuiwei is so good, how is she not good enough for him? A man chasing a woman is separated by a mountain. A woman chasing a man is separated by a layer of gauze. I, old Jean, am not convinced. I will not suffer such a loss. I don't care, I'm not going to accept this. Go after her. Shuiwei has to get him back. This is a child's matter. Why are we adults getting involved? Old Jiang was quite unhappy. In fact, he wanted Jiang Yage to secretly make a move. Old man Jean sat down dejectedly and sighed. You haven't seen how my precious granddaughter talks about Qin Guang. I watched her grow up. How can I not know her? I just casually complimented Qin Guang and her eyes lit up like little beads. When she said Qin Guang's name, her voice was as sweet as a Minnan person's. The nanny at home also mentioned to me that she would say Qin Guang's name in her sleep. How are they pretending? My precious granddaughter is really moved by them. You've only seen Xianxia once. You don't know what she's like when she's stubborn. This time Qin Guang caused such a ruckus. Based on my understanding of her, even if she loses her teeth and bleeds, she'll just swallow it. She'll be stuck for the rest of her life. As her grandfather, I can't stand it anymore. I didn't interfere with her in the past because of her stubborn temper. But this time, if I don't give her a push, she'll really admit defeat. I'm not interfering with her. I'm giving her a reason to make up her mind, old Jiang. Old man Jean had walked more bridges than Jean Shuiwei, not to mention that he's also someone who has been in the underworld for a long time. Hence, he was good at reading people's expressions. It's just that Jean Shuiwei and Qin Guang were fine, so he did not interfere. But now that things had become like this, he couldn't sit still. On the other side, Jean Shuiwei and Jiang Yage were still looking at each other. Jiang Yage was caught off guard. Although Jean Shuiwei was mentally prepared, she still couldn't accept it in the depths of her heart. Jean Shuiwei opened her Weibo in a daze. There were countless comments from fans. Most of them praised her for being an upright person who would do anything for her friends. Now that everyone knew the truth, she did lie to her fans. Other than a few extreme fans, there weren't many people who scolded her. Looking at these people's encouragement, Jean Shuiwei's grip on her phone tightened. She really wanted to tell everyone that she wasn't as selfless as they made her out to be. Her feelings for Qin Guang weren't as pure as he made them out to be. At this moment, she even felt regret in her heart. If she knew about this earlier, she would have been more courageous and told Qin Guang her true feelings. That way, Qin Guang wouldn't have chosen to use his feelings for that beautiful counselor to put an end to this matter, right? But when she looked at Jiang Yage, who was sitting beside her, she held it in. She slowly suppressed her disappointment. She started typing again and again on her phone. She wanted to clarify this ridiculous relationship according to Qin Guang's words. Jiang Yage was fuming. Anyway, I'm not going to make a statement to clarify anything. This guy, don't even think about it. At this moment, Jean Shuiwei's phone rang. She looked at it and her expression changed. Grandpa is calling. Jiang Yage panicked. Oh my God, they found out so quickly. The elders were the people she was most afraid of. Although she didn't know what Grandpa Jean was thinking with her grandfather's stubborn temper, if something like this happened, he would probably hang him up and give him a good beating. Sister Shuiwei's grandfather was easier to deal with, but he wasn't much better, right? I'll go over there to answer the call. Jean Shuiwei got up and walked to the balcony of the suite. She was flustered and didn't know how Grandpa was going to lecture her. Grandpa, I'm sorry. I lied to you. Taking a deep breath, Jean Shuiwei's voice sounded a little choked. She stood alone on the balcony and looked at the night view of London outside the window. A gentle breeze blew. In front of old Master Jin's phone call, she couldn't help but feel sad. After speaking, Jean Shuiwei fell silent and waited for old Master Jin's thunderstorm. If this matter were to spread, it would be a disgrace to the family. Unexpectedly, after a short moment of silence, old Master Jin suddenly flew into a rage. But the content of his rage was completely different from what Jean Shuiwei had imagined. What do you have to be sorry for? Aren't you angry? Of course I'm angry. I'm about to explode from anger. Old Master Jin said fiercely. Let me tell you, I don't know what you discussed with that rascal Qin, and I don't know what the two of you thought about this matter. But I've already set my mind on him. Don't even think that he can wash his hands of this matter just because he bullied my granddaughter. Dream on. Aren't you guys stupid? What is Su Lijing? No matter how much trouble he and Su Lijing have, it's just a small matter. Is there a need for you to pretend to be his girlfriend for such a small matter? Do you think he doesn't understand that you made a mistake? That rascal is just bullying you for being honest. I won't agree to it. The more old Master Jean spoke, the more agitated he became. Old Jean can't lose face like this. I have to get back at him. This isn't something that can be resolved with just a few words of apology from you or him. You already have one foot in this matter and you want to leave just like that? Dream on. Jin Shuiwei was anxious. But Old man Jin flipped out again. Toe butts. You've already said it and admitted it after such a long time. You even kissed him on the lips at the concert. I know all about it. He can forget about trying to wash his hands of this matter just by moving his lips. Otherwise I'll break his bones and skin him alive. This is my military pledge. I'm not joking with you. I've set my mind on him. Jin Shuiwei was dumbfounded. Why did it sound like Grandpa was forcing her to be with him? But he likes. Jin Shuiwei wanted to drag Zhou Xian into the picture again. Old man Jin snorted. He said he likes someone else. But she doesn't like him. If he can chase someone else, you can chase him too. How could my granddaughter lose to anyone? In the past, I let you do as you please, thinking that young people should make their own decisions. But since you can't make your own decisions now, I'll help you. In any case, you have to get him back for me. Otherwise, both of you can go to the northwest to dig for coal. I'll give him a call now and let him do as he sees fit. Old man Jin hung up the phone and heaved a sigh of relief. Shuiwei, I know you're kind and won't make things difficult for others. Grandpa will help you be the bad guy today. Jin Shuiwei held the phone and listened to the busy tone. She was momentarily dazed. On the other side, Qin Guang's scalp went numb when he saw the caller ID. He wasn't afraid of anyone, but he was afraid of old man Jin. This old man admired him very much. Now he could sit in the position of the director of the Guangdong General Administration. Although Wenwen was part of the reason, old Master Jin was also secretly adding fuel to the fire. He was trying to groom him. Old man Jin was already so old, so he took it seriously. Grandpa Jin, shut up. All right, I'll shut up. You still have the cheek to call me Grandpa? Listen to my explanation. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. Brat, I'm telling you this isn't over. It's definitely not over. You have to be with Shuiwei. What? Old man Jin, you can't be like this. Haha, now you know that you can't be like this. What were you doing earlier? What were you doing when you were kissing and touching her? Now you want to go back on your words? Do you really think that I, old man Jin, am a pushover? Yes, you're related to the Wen family, so I can't do anything to you. You're also capable and your training method is effective. You're also a talented person. But this old man can take care of Shuiwei. Anyway, I'll say it here. If you insist on going back on your words, I'll marry her off to Africa and become the wife of a tribal chief. You can repent for the rest of your life. Old man Jin hung up the phone with Qin Guang and heaved a sigh of relief. It's finally over. The group of old men at the side looked at him and gave him a thumbs up. As expected of old man Jin. With just a few words, he had given his granddaughter a military order without putting her in a difficult position. At the same time, he had also given Qin Guang a wake-up call. This old man was really using the old tactics he used in the past. Brilliant, really brilliant. Sister Shuiwei, what did your grandfather say? When Jin Shuiwei sat back in front of the computer, Jiang Yage saw her distracted look and asked. Jin Shuiwei looked blankly at Jiang Yage. Yage, Grandpa asked me to pursue Qin Guang, but he insisted on Qin Guang. Huh. Jiang Yage was dumbfounded. This is awkward. In this case, the most awkward one was Jiang Yage. Jin Shuiwei also had a headache. Originally, she just wanted to pretend to be Qin Guang. Maybe she would be scolded after the matter was exposed and her family would be angry. But she really didn't think that one day she would be forced to be with Qin Guang. I'm sorry. Jin Shuiwei didn't know what to say. Jiang Yage's eyes were blank. It's obvious that the person who likes him is me. How can this be? Is your grandfather very serious? Jiang Yage didn't give up. Jin Shuiwei nodded. Yes, very serious. Then what should we do now? Jiang Yage asked. Jin Shuiwei covered her forehead. She couldn't tell whether she was secretly happy or guilty. She knew in her heart that it became like this. In the final analysis, it was because she was possessed and proposed to pretend to be a couple with him. Now she was forced by her grandfather to pursue Qin Guang. She couldn't deceive herself deep in her heart, and she was indeed secretly happy. She had always had the mentality of being a thief, but now she was being ordered to steal. But she also felt that she was really sorry for Jiang Yage and the guilt was real. Grandpa asked me to make a statement first and refute what Qin Guang said just now. He said that he wanted me to pursue him publicly, or he would make trouble for me and Chen Guang. Jin Shirui sighed and said. Jiang Yage looked at Jin Shirui's painful look and she thought of another thing. Chapter 646. Qin Yu is Qin Guang in disguise by Huazhi likes Qin Yu. In order to get rid of his rival in love, he even disguised himself as a woman to seduce his rival in love. How resolute, how terrifying. Actually, big sister Shirui, Qin Guang isn't as innocent as he claims to be. He likes you. Maybe he feels inferior, or maybe it's some other reason, or maybe it's because he caused trouble for Zhou Wei this time, making him tired of this kind of public relationship, so he made this choice in public. But in fact, the person he really cares about should be you. Otherwise, why would he pretend to be Qin Yu and act so well to the point that even I, a woman, feel that Qin Yu is a perfect woman? After all, the real Qin Guang was a real man. To do this kind of thing, how much determination does he have to do it? On the other side, Jin Shirui finally posted on Weibo. I admit that in the past you were playing along with me. But it doesn't matter, now I'm starting to look at myself. In fact, I also lied to you. Maybe in your eyes this feeling is fake, but to me it's real. I was addicted to this fake love, unable to extricate myself. I almost thought it was real. Now please let me say it again, seriously, sincerely, Qin Guang, I like you. It doesn't matter if the past is gone, I'm starting to pursue you again. You can like others, but you can't stop me from liking you. I know it's shameful for a public figure to say such words. It makes me seem crazy and irrational. Maybe there will be a lot of people turning from fans to haters, but it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm only 20 years old. I also want to be like many of the characters in the past dramas, crazy for love once. Those who like me, please bless me. I won't easily admit defeat. Those who hate me, you can scold me, hate me, despise me, I don't care. Such a long paragraph, even through Weibo, the image of a woman who is crazy for love, like a moth flying into a flame, vividly appeared on the paper. The public opinion that had just settled down, once again exploded, an uproar. No one had expected that a mere press conference could be so full of twists and turns. Reversal, reversal, and reversal. They didn't even give him a chance to catch his breath. Jin Shirui's love for Qin Guang was real. This was simply the #1 drama of the summer. Now Jin Shirui is going after Qin Guang publicly. If he was just an unknown celebrity, it would be understandable for him to do such a crazy thing. After all, although Qin Guang claimed to be an outsider, no one could deny his fame and influence. If she could stick to him, she would definitely become famous. But who was Jin Shirui? She was the right-hand man of the national idol faction. She had debuted for 10 years and had been popular for 10 years. Although she was young, she was almost at the level of a heavenly queen, and her background was unfathomable. How could she do such a thing? This scene was strange and full of twists and turns. It really made the minds of the masses who didn't know the truth unable to wrap their heads around it. With Jin Shirui's qualifications, what kind of man couldn't she find? Why did she lie to Qin Guang and pretend to be in a relationship? Now that Qin Guang has clarified the matter, why did she stick to him again? Did she really have to put herself so low? Didn't she have self-respect? Only Qin Guang's fans, who were all-rounders, understood that it wasn't that Jin Shirui was putting herself down, but that Qin Guang was really that outstanding. The entertainment reporters also hugged each other and cried bitterly. Can't we have a good day's rest? Can't you see that everyone is tired like a dead dog these days? Do you have to go through so much trouble just to hold a press conference? The clarification and apology statement had just been issued, and now you're adding so much news here. With our limited intelligence resources, we really don't know how to analyze the troublesome matter between you two who seem to be both real and fake at the same time. The reporters didn't know how distressed Qin Guang was at this time. He held his phone and looked at the Weibo post that Jin Shirui had just posted. In his mind, he kept thinking about Old Master Jin's fierce tone just now. Sigh, something's wrong. Old Master, you can scold me to your heart's content. I'll accept it even if you beat me up. But with your attitude, you want me to take responsibility. Jin Shirui and I clearly didn't do anything. If it was Jiang Yage's family who had taken advantage of me so many times saying this to me, I would also bite the bullet and accept it. But on Jin Shirui's side, I really can't take it, okay? I'm really wronged. But he was really worried. Old Master Jin said that he wanted to marry Jin Shirui to an African chief. Although it sounded like nonsense and science fiction, what if he was serious? That would be a great sin and his conscience would be very apologetic. Qin Guang clutched his chest. To be honest, how can I be worthy of old Master Jean doing this? Forget it, I won't complain now. It really isn't the time to complain. His Weibo was also in an uproar. His own fans were celebrating. Our brother Kuan-Ning is a role model for all men. His amazing charm is so amazing that even Goddess Jean can't resist it. The female fans, on the other hand, expressed their sadness. It was already sad enough that their idol publicly confessed to someone else. Now there was a competitor who was so perfect that it made people despair. He also openly confessed to him without any integrity. We can't compete with him. Can't we just chase after our idol happily? Say it can't be helped. I can't be compared to him in all aspects. I can only use private messages to attack him. I hope that Brother Kuan-Ning will be moved by my sincerity and flip over to my side. As for Jean Shiyue's fans, they were clearly divided into two groups. There were matchmakers who asked him not to let down Jean Shiyue's true feelings. Don't think about that female teacher of yours, how can she be compared to Goddess Jean? But there were also people who directly scolded him, asking him what kind of magic potion he had fed the goddess. They said that he was despicable, shameless, and used flowery words to deceive Jean Shiyue. Qin Guang expressed that he is very calm towards these scolding people. Moreover, there are a lot of staff at Tingguang Agency waiting in line to be banned. After all, this lousy company can't do anything other than sending lawyers letters everywhere. Helping him manage his Weibo account is also making the best use of it. Currently, Qin Guang's Weibo account only has one operating policy. Anyone who scolds him, kill them one by one. Never let go of anyone who scolds him. It's better to kill the wrong person than to let them go. There are also many onlookers watching the show. In just a short while, the attention of Qin Guang's Weibo began to rise again. But at this moment, the two people who are the most embarrassed are Jiang Yage and Jean Shiyue. After Jean Shiyue posted on Weibo, the silence between the two sisters has lasted for almost 10 minutes. This is simply impossible in the past. This means that there is a gap between the two sisters. After feeling secretly happy, Jean Shiyue felt that she really can't face Jiang Yage. She remembered that she heard from Qin Guang that when the two of them were drowned in the water, at that moment of life and death, Jiang Yage even gave her life to her. But she actually did such a thing. Sigh. At this time, Jiang Yage is also staring at her phone. On it is the Weibo that Jean Shiyue just posted. Her eyes are empty and no one knows what she is thinking. I'm sorry. Suddenly, the two of them said at the same time. Jean Shiyue is stunned. She doesn't understand why Jiang Yage would apologize to her. Jean Shiyue decided to tell the truth. She really has enough of this feeling of being a thief. She feels that she has betrayed Jiang Yage. Even if Jiang Yage will be angry after saying it and the relationship between the two sisters will be hurt. Jean Shiyue also can't pretend anymore. At most, I will swear with her that I will never fight with her for Qin Guang. No matter what the people outside think, no matter what Grandpa wants, she doesn't mind. She doesn't want to lose Jiang Yage. The two of them grew up together and this relationship is definitely not comparable to ordinary best friends and sisters. Although the two of them are not biological parents, they are better than biological parents. So far, Jean Shiyue feels that she has made enough mistakes in this matter, and she doesn't want to make more mistakes. What Jiang Yage thinks is that the person Qin Guang likes is Sister Shiyue, and she has always known it, but she still selfishly tried to hide this matter. This is unfair to Qin Guang and Sister Shiyue, she is too selfish. I will speak first. Jiang Yage said. Jean Shiyue interrupted her. No, I will speak first. Yage, I am sorry I lied to you. Actually, I have always liked him. Since I was saved by him in the water, I have liked him. So at that time, pretending to be lovers with him was my plot. I selfishly wanted to snatch him away. Really? I am sorry, but I don't want to lose you. Jiang Yage is stunned, silent, and turned her head to the side. After a long time she turned her face, but she is even more ashamed. She silently reached out and hugged Jean Shiyue and said in a low voice, Sister Shiyue, actually I have always known. Do you think you can hide it from me? Don't I understand you? I just pretended not to understand. Jiang Yage is very lost, very depressed. Jean Shiyue said that she is selfish, but Jiang Yage knows that she is no better? It is nothing more than her personality is more careless, and she dares to say whatever she thinks and snatch the first opportunity. Sister Shiyue, actually Qin Guang likes you. Jiang Yage said slowly. Jean Shiyue fiercely shook her head. Impossible. But what I said is the truth. Why? Actually, anyway, I just know that the person he likes is you. There is no reason. Impossible. Sister Shuiwei, I don't know how to tell you now, but you will definitely know in the future, believe me. Jiang Yage said while looking at Jin Shuiwei. Her expression is incomparably serious, and does not look like she is joking at all. Jin Shuiwei's breathing gradually becomes hurried. She does not know what is going on, but Jiang Yage definitely knows something. Jin Shuiwei also understands that Jiang Yage does not need to joke about this kind of thing. Alright, then let's treat it as if it is really like this. Let's just treat it as if he really likes me. Jiang Yage nodded heavily. It has always been like this, that's right. Then why did he break up with me this time? I can't figure it out. Jin Shuiwei seems to be asking Jiang Yage, but also seems to be asking herself. Probably because this time Zhou Wei dug up his dirt. The public opinion on the internet has put too much pressure on him, and he also thinks that this situation is not good for everyone, so he wants to give up. This is really too much. Jin Shuiwei said. Jiang Yage also nodded. It is quite too much. He didn't even say goodbye and just broke up. He broke up at the press conference. He can't admit it. Solomon, in short, the person who feels the most sorry in this matter is still you, Jin Shuiwei said again. The two sisters sighed in unison and fell into silence again. This matter is really quite deceptive. At this time it is night time in London, and before they know it, 12 o'clock has passed. The two of them have known each other since they were very young, and they have been living together ever since. They never thought that they would fall out like this because of a man, and the two of them have never been so silent with each other. Jiang Yage suddenly laughed with a pft. Jin Shuiwei wondered, Solomon, what's wrong? Nothing, I just think this matter is very funny. Jiang Yage patted her head. With her reminder, Jin Shuiwei also laughed. It is very funny. I think he is actually afraid of these things, so from that time on the set he hid far away from the two of us. Now we are here in melancholy. Maybe he is still proud that he is finally free. Before I posted on Weibo, maybe he really was like this. Jin Shuiwei said. No matter what Sister Shuiwei thinks, in any case I don't intend to give up like this. Sister Shuiwei, let's compete fairly. Although he likes you now, I also have an advantage. Let me tell you a secret, he is really much more lecherous than he is pretending to be. There is no man who is not lecherous. What? What did you do with him? Anyway, it is more exciting than you think. You little girl, you are so shameless. What do I need to be shameless for? Do you want to die to save face and suffer? It is so rare to meet someone you like, but if you miss it, you will feel remorse. Who can you reason with? There is no reason in the first place, okay? Sister Shuiwei, your temperament is too soft. Really, if you had taken the initiative like me, he would have fallen into your trap long ago. Jiang Yage acted like an experienced person, instead lecturing Jin Shuiwei. Sooner or later, I will be as shameless as you and let you know my power. Jin Shuiwei rolled her eyes. The heavy feeling in her heart gradually disappeared. Come on, I will wait for you. Don't wait until I have a big belly. Where are you going to look at his photos and comfort yourself? You little girl, you really dare to say it, don't force me. I am forcing you. Who asked Sister Shuiwei to always be like this? Since young you have always given in to me. This time I really don't want you to give in again. Do you think I will feel good seeing you sad? No matter what happens between us in the end, Sister Shuiwei, you must remember we will be like this for the rest of our lives, okay? No matter if you win or lose, you have to be upright, okay? Okay. Oh right, I always feel that this fellow's relationship with that whatever beautiful teacher of his is not as simple as he said. We must first unite against the outside world. He is the most shameless one, fickle in love. As expected of Sister Shuiwei, you have already started planning. Of course, do you think it will be enough to rush in like you used to? Chasing a man is the same as in the TV, you need to use tactics. Tactics? Let us drug him? Go to hell, think of something more reliable. Oh right, aren't you going to act with him in Director Deng's Women? This why? Jiang Yage asked curiously. There is a kissing scene in it, right? Jin Shuiwei recalled, although she was not the main creator of this movie, but as a cameo she still read the script when she had nothing to do. Jiang Yage nodded. There is a kissing scene. I originally did not want to take this script, but didn't I take it because he wanted to act in it? Add a passionate scene. Jin Shuiwei said. Jiang Yage's eyes lit up. That's right, why didn't I think of it? Jin Shuiwei immediately started to change the script. Half an hour later, Jiang Yage felt that something was wrong. Hey. I'm the female lead and he's playing my boyfriend in the movie. Why is his passionate scene with you his first girlfriend who plays a minor role? Jin Shuiwei said proudly, think of it this way. The male lead first has a physical relationship with his first love, and then has so many things happen with you, the female lead. This can enrich the character's image very well. This kind of relationship will have more layers. Go to hell. Hey, you really sent it to Big Beard. The two girls laughed. The script was changed beyond recognition, but it was not important. Jin Shuiwei had not been like this for a long time, putting aside all the grudges and playing with Jiang Yage. No matter what, the feeling of not hiding something in the heart is really good. Jiang Yage also thought so. You're tuning in to the Zhou Xian's Legacy YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.